But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
It was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. That's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's going on, guys? It is Wednesday night, which is one of the nights we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. We do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. What are those things we're not allowed to talk about? You know what they are. Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. All kinds of news, right? You guys know me. I love to watch news cycles, see what's going on out there. Lots of UFO news. Last year, we had what we were calling the Summer of Saucers. Remember the UFO report of last year? Well, this year it doesn't seem to be any different. It's shaping up to be another Summer of Saucers, though we're barely into spring. And speaking of what's up spring, what's up cubes out there on Rockfin, I see you. I'm watching Troubled Minds outside, sitting on a bench, drinking a beer. It's 9:06 here, first time for Troubled Minds outside. Greatness. And there you go. We're into the spring, and many of us have come out of our hibernation caves, and we're watching the stars again because, well, it's not too damn cold to go outside and watch the stars. As many of you know, I live in Vegas, so I'm a little bit advantaged in that case, until July, and then I'm just like, okay, we're over this, right? But it's good. It's good to watch the sky. It's good to be able to go out and and not worry about the weather and just enjoy the world for a moment, right? That's a very good thing. I'm glad you're out there enjoying that, Cubes. I see there, buddy. So the thing is this, right? As you guys know me, I'm a connoisseur of news cycles. That's really what I do. I don't have any inside sources. There's no nobody tipping me off with anonymous tips and saying the aliens are really here or the aliens are really not here or anything like this, right? I don't get any kind of anything. That's what I get. It's as simple as that. I try and figure things out by reading news cycles, which, by the way, is probably the most, if we're being honest, the most frustrating thing you can do regarding news cycles or regarding information, I think, is trying to get real information from actual news cycles, because it all seems to be hogwash, right? Everything's spun, everything's twisted, and we've got some more hogwash for you tonight, straight from the news cycles. Piping hot news, of course, like we always do, but it's about space. It's about the final frontier, right? It's about, as I like to say, these are the voyages of the starship Troubled Minds. Its ongoing mission, well, departs news cycles, and find out what the hell's really going on out there. So that's what I'm doing tonight. That's what we're doing tonight. We're looking at the skies. We're imagining what let's say a next generation type of spacecraft or advanced propulsion will look like, and how soon that will be upon us. That's what's on my mind tonight. I'll get to that and get to exactly where this comes from. But what's on your mind tonight? Is it what do you think regarding let's say the secret space program? What about regarding advanced propulsion? Do you think that we're on the cusp of creating something that's going to change humanity forever in a good way, or do you think that we're very, very much different and nowhere close, because everything that they tell us in the news cycles is a hogwash? That's where my mind's at tonight. So I'd love to hear your thoughts as we go. But before we do all the rest of that and get into exactly what I'm thinking about tonight and more of the details here, we are doing this live. We've always done this live to include you, because these are conversations. This is not a preach session. This is not church. This is not propaganda where I smash my fist down and yell at you guys and say what the truth really is. I'm less interested in the truth. I'm more interested in the questions that bring us closer to a more, let's say, abstract truth. I'm more into that, which I think, as always, I think the questions are more important than the answers if you're asking the right questions. So that's my long-winded way of saying we do this live to include you. No inside sources, no secret anonymous type stuff. Just me and you and regular people having a conversation. So as we stream on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter, and of course, broadcast live on the Fringe FM. Looking to hear from you. What do you think about this? The ideas tonight and whatever else. As you know, we do this open-ended, non-linear, and we can take this wherever you want to take it. But if you want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We'll put you on the show. It's as simple as that. You can find the phone number and the Discord link at troubledminds.org. That's the official website. And it's where you can find all the social media, the podcast, everything else you need for Troubled Minds. The Troubled Minds store, by the way, there's a merch store, which you can buy a nice hat, very much like I'm wearing, actually exactly like I'm wearing in the stream if you guys are watching the streams. But yeah, troubledfans.com is where the store's at. All that stuff is linked on the official website, troubledminds.org. So Discord, of course, is a chat client. It's a voice client. It's completely free, and it's a new way that people communicate with each other. And they're only just starting to get into the censorship game, so I'm still digging Discord, but the more they start smacking people down for, quote, disinformation, the less I'm liking it. So we'll see if this develops. But for the time being, we're talking with each other, we're getting together, and we're sharing ideas on a Discord. So troubledminds.org, click the Discord link, come say hi. Also, we are, like I said, streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter. I'm watching the chat in all the places, trying to keep up with you guys and your guys' thoughts and what's actually going on out there. And so keep it coming. I'd love to see your thoughts roll through, and I try to incorporate them into the show as we go, multitasking, as it were. So there we go. I think that's that. What did I do? I just said this and that and the other thing. Also, please join the Fringe Discord, fringe.fm/chat. That will give you a direct invite. And also go to download the easiest way to listen to Troubled Minds Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific is to download the Fringe app. You can find it at, of course, Apple and the Android app stores. It's completely free, and you just download the app. It's exactly 7 o'clock Monday through Thursday Pacific time. Smash the play button. You'll get me. You'll get us. You'll get Troubled Minds and the amazing people that make this show go. Okay, so let's do this. I'm thinking in terms of this tonight, right? Let's show you where I began and where this sort of rabbit hole went for me. There's this article 3 hours ago, right? GiantFreakingRobot.com. Yeah, giant freaking robot. Okay, and yeah, I told you, piping hot news. See what I did there? Popping height news. No, the other way around. Strike that, reverse it. Anyway, giant freaking robot 3 hours ago had this. NASA is close to developing a warp drive. Okay, except there's a question mark at the end. So let me reframe that. NASA is close to developing a warp drive? Funny how a little punctuation changes things quite a lot, right? So it got me thinking, right, in terms of not just this article, of course, but what if NASA is actually close to developing a warp drive, right? I'm going to tell you what I think about this article right off the bat. I think this is horse manure. But again, I'm not the arbiter of truth. There's a lot of things to believe about this. There's a lot of ideas and things that we can kind of chase down this rabbit hole, including, right, do you believe that there's a sort of a secret space program, right? Sort of a, maybe we do have a warp drive type technology and they're just not letting us know, right? A lot of individuals believe this to be the case in terms of that secret space program or things like this that are actually going on. And so I don't know regarding this, like there's a lot of things to believe. Are we close to this? Are we not close to this? Is this even possible regarding Einsteinian physics and the rest of that, the laws of inertia and Newton and all that? I mean, is it even possible? Is this stuff possible? Number one, is it possible? Number two, are we close? Like it says, NASA is close to developing a warp drive? Maybe. Or what do you think? Are you one of the people that thinks that this has been around for a long time and it's part of a secret space program? And yeah, no kidding, Mike. Welcome to the club, right? So let's see. Mike, you bumped something. We can't hear you at all. Is this true? No, that can't be. That can't be. Everything seems fine. See, you guys freak me out when you do that stuff. You guys freak me out when you do that stuff. Everything seems fine on my end. All right, so look, this is the thing, right? Just refresh your streams if you guys can't hear me. Okay, check this out. Let's read a little bit from this article, and you'll see why news cycles frustrate me. Okay, with clickbait and all the rest of this garbage. This is straight from the article. Giant freaking robot. Links are always in the description down below on YouTube. They'll also be there on the podcast feed. Check this out. Warp drive currently exists only as a plot device for science fiction stories, but it may not be long before traveling at the speed of light and beyond leaves the realm of the theoretical and becomes reality. According to a report from the Brighter Side, NASA is making a concerted effort to crack the secret to making warp drive possible. Okay, warp drive possible. They aren't the only ones trying to make the impossible happen. Multiple scientists are exploring the possibility, as is a guy named Elon. You guys know who Elon is? So do I. There are, however, some big challenges to overcome. All right, straight from the article here. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, it is physically impossible for anything to move faster than light. Even so, NASA engineer Dr. Harold Sonny White is trying to test the limits of physics laws to achieve something close to a warp drive. But there are some roadblocks. Oh, you don't say. Roadblocks. Okay. Moving mass to the speed of light would take a lot of energy. So in 1994, theoretical physicist Miguel Alcubierre, I think is how you say it, developed a theory in which a bubble is created in space-time that could twist distances, shortening the distance between two distant points. All right? Okay. All right. That sounds fine. Dr. White claims a ring-shaped warp drive could theoretically move a football-shaped spacecraft at light speed. With changes to the shape of the ring, enough energy could be generated to move mass through space. Interestingly, of course, this concept was actually shown in Star Wars Attack of the Clones when Obi-Wan Kenobi's ship uses a ring-shaped warp drive to travel to another planet. If you guys remember that, when he went to Camino and found the cloners and all the rest of that, if you're into Star Wars. If not, well, that's okay. No, you don't have to be to talk about this. Here we go. So that's where we start, right? So a few questions as we get into this. I already asked some already, but it is fascinating to me to think about this in terms of, okay, warp drive, right? Warp drive. Advanced advanced propulsion technologies. And, some people have talked about this in terms of not just, let's say, Einstein, but of course Tesla and free energy and the rest of this, like what the heck is really going on out there? And how close are we to this? Is this one of those things where you believe we are actually close, as suggested in this article? And the other article here, like I said, is from the actual Brighter Side of News, and this is where this comes from. This is from May 8th. And so anyway, you guys can read this stuff if you want to dig into this a little deeper. But the question becomes, right, so how close do you think we actually are to creating a warp drive, some sort of advanced propulsion technology that will allow people to travel the cosmos, okay? Allow people to explore strange new worlds, right? And seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where a troubled mind has never gone before. And so that's really the question here, right? That's what's going on. Do you think this is real? Do you think that we are actually close to this, or is this just clickbait pipe dreams? Is this just more frustrating news cycles and things that just make no damn sense? Because, well, where the hell are our flying cars, right? Where are our flying cars? Hey, okay. So how close are we? So the few questions for you guys tonight, all right? Regarding advanced propulsion, warp drive, and let's say spacecraft capable of taking us to other planets. And not just Mars, of course, Elon and his Mars fixation, right? We've got that, which is a little bit unhealthy, but I think it's a good thing, because if you're not focused and have like huge goals, you're never going to accomplish a damn thing, are you? Like, you got to go for it. And Elon wants Mars, go get it, buddy. I'm all for it. Go get it. Sure. And, there's the arguments about, well, we should be feeding people on Earth and doing this and doing that instead of going to Mars. And, I get it. I get those types of arguments. And yeah, there's a lot of merit there. But also, by the way, we don't know the super volcano in Yellowstone National Park is overdue. And what if it blows tomorrow and we're not on Mars? Well, that sets us back quite a bit. So I think not having all your people in one planet, or all your eggs in one basket, as the saying goes, is probably a good idea, right? So go get him, Elon. I think that we need to, if you're going to talk about resources and spending money and things like this, I think instead of saying, Elon, don't do that, feed the world, we should probably look at our politicians that waste an unbelievable amount of money every year on Lord knows what, because it just seems to disappear into the ether. There's nobody better at just making money disappear than politicians. So, I don't think this is Elon's fault. I think that, let's look to the 9% approval rate of Congress. Anyway, I digress a little bit there. So point is this. All right, regarding advanced propulsion, how soon do you think this is actually happening? Are we close to this? Is this not even possible? This is a pipe dream that, as just a first couple of ideas here, or are you the type that believes, the conspiratorial type? How dare you in your tinfoil hat? The conspiratorial type that believes that maybe all these missing trillions over the years have actually gone to programs like this and created a secret space program that already exists, meaning that we have possibly warp drives already, and they're not just telling us, right? So I think that's the thing here regarding this. That's my question, right? And then let's do this. Let's do a little bit of conspiracy speculation theater and put you in charge of, the hypothetical Space Force or whatever it is, right? Whatever that happens to be, whoever's calling the shots on where we would go. Let's say you're the commander of the Space Force, okay? And let's say that warp drive, advanced propulsion is achieved, okay? And they go to you and ask you, all right, well, Commander, or whatever it is, we've achieved warp drive. We've got the rocket built. We've got astronauts ready to go. Where do we go first? Where do we test drive this baby? Where do we take it? And, well, it's your call. So that's the question, right? That's the question regarding tonight. There's a lot of ways to look at this, a lot of ways to think about it in terms of not just technology and how far we've come. And again, I do love science. I just hate how it's politicized. And I think that undermining science for politics is criminal. It's disgusting to me, and it's what is actually undermining the idea of this, like going to Mars and whatnot. There's a lot of people that believe Mars isn't even real. And that's okay if you don't believe it is. Maybe I'm wrong there, but I think it is. I can go out and I can look at it. I can buy a telescope and I can see the red thing in the sky. And, I mean, there's that. But I don't want to get into that. But in any case, right? So where would you go first, all right? And there's lots of places. There's lots of places you can go. There's a lot of really cool places, right? I mean, we've got planets nearby. We got Venus. That would probably be super hot to go check that out. And I don't mean like super hot, but I kind of do mean super hot, right? But so that's the question, right? Where would you take this? Where would you want to go first if you were the commander of Space Force and they said, all right, Commander, the rocket is ready. We got astronauts on board. Where do we launch and where do we head? What would you do? 702-957-1037. And additionally, do you think advanced propulsion is within reach or do you think this is a pipe dream? Let's go to Joe in Florida. What's up, my friend? Welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you tonight? Go right ahead.
Not too bad. So, first of all, I would name my spaceship One Rocket Ajax from Buck Rogers.
Okay, fine choice.
I would go to Mars and look for the three-breasted woman that was on Total Recall. That's what I would do first.
Okay, all right. And you think you'd find that on Mars?
Oh, man. I might find it in some places in Tampa. Who the hell knows? But it's kind of curious that you were reading that article. Did you also see today that there was a Saudi crown prince that basically warned the world that he's never seen it like this, that we're approaching zero energy?
No, I didn't see that.
So,
that was today, huh?
Yeah, something about like no oil, or he didn't give details, But and then again, it could be an excuse for them to pump oil so that the price per barrel keeps going up. So you never know what it's called. OPEC, and the C literally stands for cartel. But that's been driven out of history too, because it stands for oil producing, exporting countries. Even though it's a cartel, we all know. Warp drive? I don't think so. And if we did, in theory, they would still need inertial dampers. They would still need force fields. I honestly don't think we have that. Now, I haven't read the article. Maybe mathematically they could be improving on Albuquerque's theoretics or, theoretical drive. Can we do it? Maybe with quantum mechanics, and then maybe we wouldn't send humans. Maybe we're going to have to send machines first so that any accidents don't splatter us against the wall. Could be that they're using, reverse engineered technology. I don't know. I have a belief that any UFOs or anything we see are typically local, maybe from Mars or from the moon, unless they're totally interdimensional, which is a whole other subspace Stargate conversation, but actually working space. I don't know. Wouldn't we notice that if somebody else was coming here? You can't tell me we're the first ones in a galaxy, full of numbers and stars and probabilities. But playing devil's advocate on the other end, maybe there is a golden rule. Maybe Roddenberry was right. Maybe there's people out there watching and they can't interfere until we hit the warp threshold ourselves. So whatever that is on the Kardashev scale that we talk about, because that's going to have to come into play tonight. But, the Kardashev scale of spacefaring nations or whatever.
Exactly. And you brought it up, so I'm going to mention it. We'll talk about it a little bit later. Zefram Cochrane is the individual from Star Trek that was the star of First Contact that actually built the first warp ship. You know what year that was, Joe? 2063. 2063.
No, 2063. No, you're right. After nuclear war. And what was left. And coincidentally, that same actor yesterday glued his hand, because he's a big PETA advocate. That actor glued his hand to the counter of a Starbucks because he refused to pay extra for using plant-based milk substitutes. But anyway.
I did see that.
Yeah, 2063, I guess.
I did see that.
But where would we go first? I don't know. Should I stay on or should I hang up?
Up to you. You can wait, and we can come back to you right after the break if you want to hang out.
Yeah, that'll be okay if nobody minds. That's fine.
Okay, stay right there. We're here with Joe in Florida. We're talking about advanced propulsion. How soon do you think this is going to happen? And if you were the commander of the United States Space Force, where would you go first? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We're here with Joe in Florida. Don't go anywhere. More advanced propulsion, the destinations, and your calls, and Joe in Florida when we return. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter, and we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Tonight, we're taking your phone calls as we consider the possibility of actual advanced propulsion. How soon do you think this will be available to humans? Let's say in a military capacity, of course, first, because they always take the money and spend it on military stuff anyway. But what about more to the layman? What about us? What about people that may be able to afford this advanced propulsion? And let's say, well, we are on the cusp of actually creating this. Where would you go first? If you were the commander of Space Force, where exactly would you take this advanced technology to check out in the very first place? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Let's go right back to Joe in Florida. Thanks for being patient, my friend. You were about to tell us where you would go first. What's up, my man? Welcome back.
I would probably go to the obvious. I'd probably go to Mars to eliminate, whatever paraphernalia or whatever real thing is there. I'd definitely go to the dark side of the moon. That would be quick. Like The Expanse, if anybody's seen the show, I'd probably try to go to Jupiter and Saturn to mine resources that we could use for energy or further propulsion or further building of spaceships. I think some people put in the comments diamonds and things and riches, but I would have to say that if we found a bulk of diamonds or a bulk of gold, I think it would hold value for the time being, but if we have an overabundance of any of those items in a capitalist society, the value of those may actually go down. I don't know. I think I would be more concerned with finding resources to get us off of here and to get us started someplace else. So really, I guess the biggest answer, while it would be nice to go to these dead worlds, we would probably want to go to the first possible world that can be inhabited. So in Star Trek terms, the first class M planet we can find.
Okay, I like that. So again, we're talking about advanced propulsion. So it doesn't have to be Mars. Mars is sort of slumming it because, well, that's pretty much all we got and where we can get. But if we're dreaming a little bit and talking about advanced propulsion, the first M-class planet. I like it. So that would be what?
And here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Here's my idea. Let's say we could get something that's on FTL, faster than light, or warped, but we can't live on it because we'd be splattered against the hull, or the radiation would kill us, or something. So let's just say we could achieve that part of it without what they would call inertial dampeners and shielding. But we could just do that, and we find something that's inhabitable, or a telescope does it. Who's to say we couldn't build, like you see in sci-fi, a generation ship, where we set that thing out into space, and it might take 100 years to get somewhere, but at least 1 or 2 generations can get there while living and not in some kind of cryogenic sleep. So who knows? And we send those out into space. I mean, it is straight out of Star Trek. Bonnie Day, the eugenics wars, Khan, all of that we've seen. The predecessors to warp drive. We've seen that, but maybe we do have warp drive, but maybe in drones, maybe in a miniature, I don't know. And who knows if CERN isn't opening up some kind of a gate that, like Stargate, where you get someone mounts through a camera and see what's going on. But I still think that we're probably a quantum singularity off of making that leap, if that makes any sense.
Sure it does. I mean, we're dreaming of sci-fi. Whatever you want to make sense makes sense, Joe. The first M-class planet. Hey, we're talking Star Trek, so I'm into that.
And what happens is, I'll leave you with this. I know it's not a college, but I have friends that believe in transhumanism. So maybe we're uploaded, okay, into a machine, and then a clone is grown on the other end of it when it arrives where it needs to arrive, and then we're put in the clone. Maybe kind of like what they say the Greys are. They come over here. Who knows? Like, if we physically can't handle a trip from the extremities of it, who's to say that our intelligence can't be uploaded or some kind of transhumanistic device? And then where, that a clone is grown in orbit somewhere at the destination, and we inhabit the clone or whatever it is, and then we're put out there, let alone a robot that we can remote instantaneously with quantum physics.
Entanglement.
Ender's Game, Orson Scott Card, and in Star Trek, they do have almost instantaneous communication, subspace communication. They never really explain it except that it's subspace, but that has to be quantum communication. We know that at least that exists. So it's a lot to think about, but it's very interesting. I'll leave you with that.
You're the best. I appreciate you being patient with the commercial break and all that. Joe in Florida, always a pleasure. Have a fantastic night. Thanks for calling, bro.
Have a good night, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks a lot. You too. 702-957-1037. We're talking about advanced propulsion. Let's say this technology was available tomorrow, and you were the commander of Space Force, and they came to you and said, Commander, the ship is fueled, the astronauts are on board. Where do we go first? What would be your response? And also, as part of the conversation, do you think advanced propulsion warp drive is actually real? Some people say NASA is not real. Some people say that secret space programs exist that do have advanced propulsion already. They're just not telling us. I understand that the belief system between all of this is all over the place, and that's why we talk about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. One more time, 702-957-1037. Let's go to Phil in Washington. Thanks for being patient, my friend. Welcome to Troubled Minds. Go right ahead.
Yes, sir. And it's a pleasure to be on your show again.
Thank you. Pleasure to have you.
The Alcabalo drive, I think that is a viable system already. Just as if you go to the drive and go to the war room, you can go and look up Salvador Playas. You can get a anti-grav patent that he's got with I believe it's a fusion drive is what's driving the power to power it. So basically you have a way to eliminate mass. And if you eliminate mass, then that kind of negates Einstein's quandary there about exceeding the speed of light, doesn't it? I think it does. Anyway, moving on, we've got the Germans, according to Thompson, that were working on anti-grav, the Honeyboos and the Glock. Back in the 1930s, 1935, 1936 kind of time frame there. So if that's true, which I kind of felt that Thompson was telling the truth, or the truth as he knew it anyway. And so they've had that technology for, almost 100 years. So... yeah, no, we've already got it. We're already doing it. This cosmic disclosure on Gaia, I talked about it. course, I mean, that's Corey Good and David Wilcock and all of that mess. And the flying cars. David Wilcock says he is working on those right now.
Speaking of that mess, yeah. I like how you put that. Okay, so do you think I am familiar with Salvador Pais? He actually did a very long form interview on Theory of Everything with Kurt. The guy's last name I can't recall exactly what it is, but check it out. Theory of Everything, Salvador Pais, and they were talking about this advanced propulsion, these Navy patents, which are infamous. If you're in the conspiracy world and into UFOs, you definitely know about Salvador Pais and those Navy patents. So you think, Phil, that this stuff is real already? That they're using this, they're just not telling us, right? Is that your take here?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you don't like, if Corey Good doesn't ring true with you, there's a lot of other guys. I mean, go to Project Camelot and all this whistleblowers she's had on there. Randy Johnson, I think, is one of the guys, and he talks about being on Mars already. There's the jump rooms. I think most of the newer races like us, we use portals or stargates, if you will. These filaments of plasma that run between the stars. And you just tap into that and presto change when we come out of the other end of the tube, light years away. Hopefully around some habitable star with some habitable planets.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the way we'll probably do it first.
Yeah. So if you're the commander and you get to pick, what is it? What exactly is it? Where exactly do we go with this advanced propulsion?
Series B.
Okay, Series B. So that's probably, 40 light years, I believe, so 46 light years, something like that. So it's going to be pretty close in those terms. So we'll be able to do that pretty quickly. And how about this?
Maybe not. Maybe just going.
Go ahead. Test 1, 2. Are you there? Phil in Washington. You cut out. Everything seems fine on my end. Let's give it a sec. Phil in Washington. You cut out. Test 1, 2. Hey guys, oh my goodness. It was my end. Stay tuned. I'm going to call that back and we're going to, sorry about that. Get right back with you, Phil. There it is. There we go.
Thank you.
All right, so calling back, that was my bad. Google Voice did drop. It's having its issues tonight. So what we're doing is we're talking about advanced propulsion. How soon, and if you were the commander of Space Force, hypothetically, and they said, where to first? Where would you tell them? Where do we go? I got some ideas myself. I'll tell you where I would go, but I'm going to wait till the end because I want to make sure we get your ideas first. Sorry about that. It looks like Phil jumped off the call because, of course, we hung up on him inadvertently. It was a technology thing. Sorry about that, Phil. If you want to call back, please do, and we'll put you back on the phone. Sorry about that. I'll go right to you if somebody's in front of you. We'll cut these in line because we dropped the call. But that's what we're talking about tonight. This idea of advanced propulsion. And no, there's no news. I see the question in the chat. This article came out from a Giant Freaking Robot today. Yeah, that's right. Giant Freaking Robot. That's what the website is called. Just like it sounds, FREAKIN. And it says NASA is close to developing a warp drive, but of course it's got a question mark. And this is the thing that really kind of pisses me off about clickbait is there's nothing really new here. There's nothing really new, okay? This is one of those things where they're sort of leaning on these old stories and kind of doing a clever write-up based on this article from Brighterside.news, and it's like this. It says, warp drive is getting closer to reality. Okay. And this is May 8th, and I mean, like how much closer? Like incrementally closer in tiny steps, or are we there yet? You know what I mean? And this is the thing that pisses me off. So they're talking about these, Miguel Alcubierre is, I think how you say it, a theoretical physicist in 1994, developed what they called an Alcubierre drive. He created a bubble within space-time that would twist distances, making it possible for anything to travel long distances within the bubble. Most people thought this made perfect theoretical sense, but practically it wasn't workable. So people at NASA are obviously working on this, and so it got me thinking in terms of, okay, what if we did achieve this, okay? What if we actually did, okay? Where would you go? Where would we go? Because we're taking this in theoretical terms that you are the commander of Space Force, and they're going to ask you, hypothetically, where do we go first? Let's go back to Phil in Washington. Sorry about that, my friend. The phone dropped. You should be right back on. How are you? Go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, fine. Yeah. So I don't know where I left off there, but I would say that drive is a done deal. I mean, if they're bringing it out, that usually means they've already got it. And that's the same way with that anti-grav stuff. The DOD came out and said that they should approve the patent because they've got a working model. So we've got anti-grav for damn sure. So we can go to Mars. We can go to anywhere in the star system. It's just a matter of, it doesn't take very much fuel if your weight is 0, right?
Yeah, well, that would be the idea. Right? Element 115, Bob Lazar style? You just go, right?
Well, there's the other thing with Salvador Payas's patent is he's got the drive for it, and it's a fusion drive. Apparently he's worked that out too. So he's got no unity on a fusion drive. So you take a little bit of uranium with you, and you're good to go.
Yeah, right. Just don't mistake it for your salad, your evening salad, right? But yeah. I'm going to get that podcast and share it so everybody can check it out. The Salvatore Pais talking about advanced propulsion. And there are some holes in the theories because, like I said, on the theory of everything, Kurt actually asked him specifically how it worked. Kurt himself is a physicist, and so he was trying to wrap his mind around it. And Salvador Pais himself actually said, well, there are some things we have to conquer yet. We don't know how to make this and this and this happen. But once we do, I think this thing will become a feasible thing. So that was his actual first public interview that I've ever seen or heard, but I'll share that in the chat if you guys want to check it out. It was a fantastic interview, and
okay, yeah, I was going to just say, as I understand it, is that they have this waveguide inside this like a double hole, and they have a waveguide that they're running plasma through, which would be my guess is how. So you're creating a field. And that kind of negates what Joe was saying about getting splattered against the side of the, because you're within the field. It's the field that's moving faster than, a bullet. Fast enough to get off the planet's gravity well, possibly fast enough to, achieve faster than light speed.
Gotcha. So you would kind of be wrapped in this sort of a space-time bubble, so that would protect you from the things around you. I got you.
Yeah,
right.
that inertia, all that's taken care of right inside that bubble.
Right. Okay.
So you're within the field. You the field is moving, not you.
Right. Exactly.
You're locked into your seat there, and you're going along lickety split, right?
Yeah,
that's the only thing you're going to have to worry about is coming out of that field and hitting something.
Exactly.
When you're coming back into that 3D reality where things become real again. Boom. That rock that you passed through many times before. Now that you're coming out of that field, boom, you're in the rock, right? So you got to be kind of careful about where you come out at, I would guess.
For sure. All right. I appreciate the phone call, Phil. You're the best. Phil has a YouTube channel. Are you out of YouTube jail? Are you back making videos?
Yeah. I got 2 channels going now.
Okay.
Just in case.
Nice. That's the way you got to do it. Do check him out. Scroll down to the bottom of our YouTube page. I got a link there for Phil. It says Phil Christophers. Check him out. He's doing some good work over there on YouTube as well. Appreciate you listening, my friend. Thank you so much for the phone call.
You bet, man. Take care, man.
Thanks, you too. Have a great night. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We're talking about advanced propulsion tonight. And again, I don't think there's been any breakthrough other than some clickbait headlines, which again pisses me off quite a bit. But it is clickbait after all, right? It is what it is. But I thought it'd be a fun experiment to kind of take down, take our ideas and our minds down that rabbit hole and consider, well, if this actually was a thing, and let's say, I don't know, we're throwing out the name NASA. All right, we're throwing out the name NASA, and I know that that's a very polarizing thing for people because in these conspiracy circles, NASA is known as never a straight answer. Okay, I get it, I understand, and I'm with you because they do fabricate a lot of information, meaning that they supposedly redact things according to some whistleblowers like Donna Hare. Don't know how accurate that is. Like I said, I don't know how on the inside she actually was, but in other terms, right, we do know that they edit data so that it can be, let's say, audio, for instance, like this black hole we just heard not too long ago. They said, we got the sounds of a black hole. Well, the sounds of the black hole that they captured were not actually able to be heard by the human audio receptors or our ears, right? It was not made for that. So the data they got, they converted to sound so that we could hear an approximation of what it was like. So is that the actual sound of a black hole? The short answer is no, no, right? And many of the pictures we see from NASA, right? Even if you don't think space is real and you think it's all doctored, at least they do doctor them in terms of, painting them in a particular, let's say, visible wavelength of light so that we can actually see what they're pointing to, right? Because, of course, they're taking X-rays and all kinds of different things with these telescopes. So, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how much of this is real, how much of this is fake, how much of this is sort of a secret space program. And by the way, real quick, just to clear the air on this, my actual take on NASA, and I've always said this, is they are a PR front to a military secret space program. And I believe that to be true in almost literal exact terms, okay? How deep the secret space program goes, me personally, I don't know. And I think that's the thing that's worthy of conversation, okay? I think that's what this is about. So... yeah, and so I'll tell you that joke later why I'm laughing. But anyway, so that's just to clear the air. That's what I believe about NASA, and I think the conversation becomes how deep does that rabbit hole go regarding the secret space program itself? Okay, and I think it's worthy of discussion. So just to clarify, I think NASA is a PR front for an actual secret space military program. Okay, that's what I believe about it. And by the way, I'm also could be wrong, and of course, I'm a human, so I'm entitled to be wrong too. But it doesn't matter what I think; it matters what you think. And so that's what we're talking about tonight. So let's say, hypothetically, whoever tomorrow something, they found this advanced propulsion, and they were able to say, okay, this is real. We're able to use this technology to go somewhere. And of course, since it's our dream and our hypothetical situation, you, of course, singular you out there listening, fine human being, you are the commander of the Space Force. And so the powers that be come to you and ask you, okay, Commander, we've got the advanced propulsion ready. We've got astronauts in the rocket. It's fueled up and ready to rock. Where do we go first? And so what I'd like to know is where you would go first. That's what we're doing tonight. A little bit of conspiracy speculation theater, a little bit of rabbit hole thinking, a little bit of, NASA and secret space programs, and a little bit of advanced propulsion. Do you think we're close to a breakthrough? Do you think we've already had it and it's been hidden? Do you think no chance, Mike? Space is not even real. I'm open to all the ideas. Love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We're doing this. We're talking about this. Advanced propulsion. How soon? Which destination first? And where would you go if you were the commander of the hypothetical secret space force? Yes. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More Advanced Propulsion Warp Drive the destination, and of course, more speculation and your phone calls when we return. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. Did I say don't go anywhere? Don't go anywhere. We are talking about the alien abduction phenomenon. Aliens.
The aliens are looking through your eyes and they're accessing your optic nerve. I'm doing this. And through that optic nerve, they're transferring to your brain. People are random images as they traverse neurons in the brain.
Alright, so maybe
and they also feel them planting or receiving memories or ideas or images.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's going on, guys? It's Wednesday night, which is one of the nights we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. We do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. What are those things, you may wonder? Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. Of course, tonight, like usual, we're streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, D-Live, and Twitter, and we're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. We're taking your phone calls as we discuss this idea of advanced propulsion. Let's say, regardless of what you believe about space, let's say space is real. Let's say advanced propulsion has just been invented, and you, yourself, are the commander of Space Force. The powers that be come to you and say, Commander, they say, where do we go first? The rocket is fueled up. The astronauts are ready. What is the destination? Where do we go? And of course, why are we going there? Now, there you go. That's the question tonight. That's what's on my mind. Of course, we can talk about NASA. We can talk about the secret space program. There's so much that kind of goes into this idea and this rabbit hole. And so that's what we're doing tonight. So one more time, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Thanks for being so patient, Nick. Welcome to Troubled Minds. Nick in Massachusetts. Go right ahead, my friend.
Hey, loving the topic.
Thank you.
I think, for the military part, I think, if I was a commander, I would definitely be going door to door or more like planet to planet and seeking people to somehow bestow this sense of protection, a galactic protection, trying to sell that to them, see how that goes, and
That's fair. That's actually pretty pragmatic, considering we're talking about advanced propulsion and warp drives, right? I mean, so you kind of want to bring in that Star Trek post-scarcity future, right? By planet hopping, making sure that we have resources as we go, kind of expanding humanity from, point 1 to point B to point C to point D. So I like that. I like the idea. That's pretty pragmatic. I think that's what you're supposed to do, right? I think, given like the actual human race and like us surviving it long term, I think that's the best idea. All right. And I'm with you there. I think that's probably where we should go. But let's say just given your druthers and you're like, okay, let's do that second. Where would you go first? Just to kind of, let's say, tickle your brain or like thrill your enthusiasm about space. I got some ideas myself, which I'll share at the end of the show. But where would you go that's a little less pragmatic there?
Yeah, I mean, Jupiter is one that I'm really like interested to see up close. Imagine like being inside the clouds and seeing what's happening there, or just like even just flying around, the planet. But regardless, out of that, I think definitely traveling through like the nebulas to see how that looks. I think they're so beautiful in pictures, and I hope they're as beautiful up close. And they're not like, I hope they're not like clouds here where like, they're cool outside, but like once you go through the clouds, it's just mist. But something like that, just trying to explore something that looks really cool and see how it looks within it,
Yeah, totally. So I'm with you. There's so many things in space that are amazing that we could actually kind of chase down and look at. And wouldn't that be the biggest drag ever, though? If you're like, yeah, we're going to like the Crab Nebula. You get in there and it's like overrated. You're like, aw. Okay. Yeah. So regarding advanced propulsion and NASA, what do you believe regarding NASA as the PR front of a secret space program? How deep does that rabbit hole go? Do you think we actually have advanced propulsion now and they're hiding it? How close do you think we are? What about that conversation? What is your thought there?
Yeah, I think, NASA has a lot of things, they're definitely hiding stuff, and, they're the only people who we know who, they give us information about space. From that, we don't know that much, and they've been dictating a lot of things, and what I believe about that, and what they explained with their technology, I think it's definitely possible that they already have that technology. I think that, we've already seen it, and I think most of like those UFO videos, especially with the triangles that the Navy showed, I think that's part of it. It could be like it might not be like warp trap, but it's definitely anti-gravity, and, playing with that, it's probably a next step to jumping to the warp drive. So, yeah.
Gotcha. So I can buy that. So you think we're actually closer than they're letting on, but maybe not full on warp drive yet. We're not like Star Wars, but maybe you think we've conquered in some capacity the anti-gravitics portion of what would be next, of course, would be the advanced propulsion. I like that. I like the idea. And we're talking about, of course, the TR-3B, and those triangles that some have described as Stephen Greer and other people have described them as being our UFOs versus their UFOs, right? So again, lots of rabbit holes here, lots of stuff to talk about and consider. What else you got for us tonight, my friend? Great stuff as always.
No, that was it. Thank you so much.
Right on. I appreciate the phone call. And Nick in Massachusetts, always a pleasure. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the phone call. Have a fantastic night.
Yeah.
There we go. Easy as that. 702-957-1037. We're talking about the idea of advanced propulsion. Now, if this is real, so the first couple questions, right? Down the rabbit hole of, is this stuff real? Meaning that, do we have a secret space program that NASA's been hiding from us? I personally happen to believe that's the case because, like I said, just to clear the air back from just some misunderstandings in chat, people get so polarized and mad about oh boy, Mike believes in NASA. I'm out of here, right? What's up? Shout out to Suntoke. Like I said, just to making sure, I am not the arbiter of any truth. I don't have any inside sources, as I always say, no Galactic Federation ambassadors. Shout out to Ray and Gable. None of that. I'm just trying to make sense of the world I live in, just like you are your portion. So my take on NASA is that there's got to be, they are the PR front of a secret space program. That's my thought. How deep the secret space program goes, the military program, I don't know. And some people again say there's Marines on Mars. Some people say that we're already up on the moon Titan, the dark side of the moon. There's bases there. Maybe we're already on Mars. I don't know about all that. that, right? I don't know about all that. That's a pretty deep rabbit hole to kind of chase down. But again, like I get the arguments, meaning that in some sense, the Pentagon loses trillions of dollars, right? Like hand over fist, just losing trillions of dollars. So I think it's a little bit strange, a little bit odd that this news comes out, and this is why we're talking about it tonight. So on Giant Freaking Robot, that was just 3 hours ago, 3 hours before the show. NASA is close to developing a warp drive, all right, and it's got a question mark. And they're citing this other article from Brighter Side News where it says warp drive is getting closer to reality, NASA says. And if you go read through this, right, they talk about this idea of like the bubble of bending space time in the front and the back, the Al-Khoury warp drive model. So they say that if you bend space-time in the front lower and bring the space-time up higher in the back, you get this sort of riding the wave of space-time, and so you're locked into that sort of bubble, like Phil was saying. And so, right, this has been theoretical since 1993, I believe they said, 1994. So if this is closer, I mean, they're testing this in minuscule scales. I think that's still a long way off from putting somebody in like a rocket and sending them to Alpha Centauri. You know what I'm saying? Like, so clickbait, probably. But it doesn't matter because we talk about hypotheticals and theoreticals, and, we call it drinking the maybe juice on this show. So we're drinking the maybe juice tonight, again, and as usual. And so the question is, right, regarding advanced propulsion, if it's a thing, number one, do you believe it's a thing? Do you believe we have it and they haven't told us? Or at what degree do we or do we not? That second thing is, if we did, and let's say they invented it today, Space Force is ready to rock, and they asked you tomorrow as the commander of Space Force, because of course you just got a promotion. If you're out there listening to Troubled Minds right now, you are now the commander of Space Force, of course, hypothetically. But then they come to you and say, well, okay, rocket is ready to go, advanced propulsion, warp drive. We can go anywhere you want. Where would you go? And I got some ideas, right? There's all kinds of fine ideas. Venus would be fantastic to check out. Like Nick said, maybe going to Jupiter, checking out the clouds there. All kinds of different gorgeous nebulas in the sky that we see from the NASA photographs. And so there's tons of stuff, right? There's the moon, Titan, which they say is basically a mini Earth at this point. That we're looking for M-class planets outside of our solar system. But Titan, they say, is possibly habitable now. Of course, I'd want to go to Mars and check out the Cydonia region and check out to see if there really is a face there or pyramids or things like this. I would want to go see it with my own damn eyes, right? I would want to see it myself. And so I'd be like, hey, let's take us there, and I'm coming with you. Let's do it. I'm going to see this myself and actually see what's going on. And that's what we're doing tonight. Just kind of the thought experiment of, if we had this technology and we were using it and going and doing our thing, where would you want to go first? What would you want to see first? Would it be Alpha Centauri? Would it be the Sirius system? Would it be, of course, somewhere in the solar system like Jupiter, or let's say even further? Like, I'm going to give you a little hint. I would go find a missing planet. We'll get to that a little bit later tonight, but that's what I would do. There's supposedly a 9th or a 10th planet, of course, regarding whether you believe Pluto's real. But I'd actually want to go find if that sucker was actually legitimate. Because, of course, if you got warp drive, you couldn't you? You could track down its hypothetical orbit way out there in the Oort cloud and be able to actually find the fabled Planet X. That's maybe what I would do. So, again, what would you do? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Let's go to MJ in Virginia. What's up, my friend? Welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Oh, pretty good, my man. Just talking about crazy stuff like we do. What do you know about advanced propulsion, and what are your ideas here?
Well, first I've seen 2 different stargates in use, portals up in the sky. And as far as propulsion, we already Ezekiel! Oh, cat. We already have...
You all right?
Oh, that cat. No, he comes in and he sprays. And I think I may have caught him. I don't... hit it. Yeah, he got it.
All right.
Anyways.
Sorry to hear that. Go ahead.
He just... Out. You gotta go out. Out. Anyways, I've seen all that. What I have seen out in the desert, you may have seen this, you see a little dot of light flying so fast you can barely see it. And then all of a sudden, it just, when it stops dead, It throws out the massive bright light, and it floats off like it's a satellite. So I think we're very close. And I've seen what I would call, I guess, ships do like a, what would you call it? A warp jump, in a respect, be like a warp jump thing, to where they sort of vibrate, and all of a sudden they scoot up real quick, and they stop and they start vibrating because they're practicing a warp jump of some sort. So we've been working on that since '95. We've been working on that for quite some time. I honestly believe that we've got that stuff down already, as far as the warp drive and, you know, things of that nature. I just don't see us not having it. I don't know that our bodies are capable of handling the pressure of it. You know, that massive sudden surge. Unless they can keep that cabin so tight, you can't feel it. So I don't know how far that is. But I've seen some of it up in the sky, and you can tell it moves immensely fast.
Okay, so we do have it. Whether human beings can actually use this as part of a propulsion thing for ourselves and our frail little squishy meat suits is another thing entirely. So okay, so let's say theoretically you're the commander of Space Force. What would you want to see first, MJ? If you could hop in a rocket with advanced propulsion and go anywhere, let's say not instantaneously, let's say within reason, where would you go? What would you want to see?
Within reason?
Well, you know, like not the Big Bang. You know what I mean? Like you can't go that far. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like we're not talking space and time. Where would you want to go? Like somewhere close, like Jupiter in our solar system, or would you want to go somewhere another galaxy? What? Just in general terms, just to kind of itch your curiosity about the universe.
Was be a Jedi. Have my own little cruiser, a couple of droids, and just go.
All right, like Millennium Falcon style. Just hop in the thing.
Do. I definitely would want to check out Pluto. I just have a fascination with Pluto.
Okay,
that's something I want to check out. Maybe go to the other planets, because once you can do that, your solar system, or the solar system we're in, the galaxies we're in, it's your home. That's your backyard at that point. So you could buzz around that on the weekends, you know, go see stuff, and then, you know, take a long week off or a month off and just go to the next galaxy over, or, you know, to the sun, or, you know, kind of go those routes. That's what I would do, but I would want to just go find other civilizations.
Right. Actual, explore the whole galaxy first and then try other galaxies after that. I'm with you. I do like the idea of like a Sunday cruise being to like Jupiter or something like that. that would be pretty sweet.
It would be like Fifth Element. You know, you go to a party planet and you're on your big ship up in the air and you kind of hang out for a while.
Hey, hard for me to argue with that. I think it's a fascinating idea. And so you think we do have it? You think human beings maybe are not using it yet? The secret space program in full effect. Let's hope we get it. Like I keep saying, where the hell's our damn flying cars? Like this is horse manure. Like we're expected to believe that we're an advanced technology civilization style, and we don't even have our flying cars yet. MJ, come on, this is ridiculous, right?
Well, the thing is, I think we have some of that propulsion, and I do believe there are people that can handle it to a certain extent, but I don't think they're totally human. And that's something else, I give thought to, because you have all these things going on, and you'd have to get trained to it, like an astronaut. Maybe your body has to be a certain route. Maybe they've stuck you with DNA, some say alien DNA, to promote it. You know, it has to be to a certain level, and then your body can withstand, maybe it's a more dense body, and it can withstand the pressure of that, or maybe they've got the cabin's pressurized to where they can go through it. They've got the trains under the planet, when they're tunnels they built, those things are like 250 miles an hour, 300 miles an hour. You just sit in them. So somewhere along the line, the gravitational pull has to be neutralized, so you're like floating, like it's not affecting you. Maybe it's that cabin pressure, but your gravitational pull in that thing basically you're floating. You're just like a piece of dust floating around the air. And then when it comes back together, it pulls you back in, or the gravitational pull, when it slows down, pulls you back in, and you're sitting. But, you're sitting the entire time. But it could be something like that. Instead of the pressure, it could be quite the opposite, just letting go.
Yeah, I'm with you. Back to that idea of kind of getting wrapped up in a space-time bubble, right? Like the sort of envelope of space-time protects you from that sort of thing. So I don't know. It remains to be seen. It's all theoretical. It may be horse manure. It may be fake, but I like thinking about it. That's for damn sure. It's definitely fun to consider. How far do you think we'd have to go to find aliens? By the way, do you think it'd be closer than we believe, or do you think it'd be super far away?
Oh, Arizona.
Arizona. All right. Definitely closer than what it appears to be. I love it. All right. Arizona.
Oh, yeah. Arizona. I was living in like Havasu City for a while. I was working at Denny's, and this lady came in, and we were all kind of, a little aware then of what was going on, or, supposedly. And she came in, and she just couldn't talk. And as she talked, her speech got better as she listened to us. And then she figured out how to order on your menu. And we're looking at her like, is she like from another country? Or, we didn't know what was going on. And when she left, it was just, there was something so odd about her. And, kept thinking maybe she's just, odd. But she was like when she walked in, she didn't walk that well. When she left, she walked better. And she would go to the bathroom, walk back. And each time it's like she got better and better at what she was doing, like she was practicing something. But it was really odd. And like I've told you before, I've run into a hybrid, and I don't know what the guy was, but the other one was a hybrid. So they're here already. If you go up to Montezuma, Arizona, that little town back there, that's a nice little place to go if you want to meet them.
Okay. All right. I do like so let's just say closer than we would imagine. Montezuma, Arizona. You're the best, MJ. You were the best. You always with the comedy timing, man. I ask you the question, you're like, blam, slam dunk, Arizona. I appreciate the phone call. Thanks for listening. Always a pleasure. Have a fantastic night. Talk to you soon, okay?
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. 702-957-1037. That's MJ in Virginia. It was super good stuff. So we're talking about tonight the idea of advanced propulsion, right? I don't have any reason to believe that we're about to make some sort of breakthrough with this new propulsion techniques or anything. Again, we've got this article from giantfreakingrobot.com that's referencing brighterside.news and says that warp drive is getting closer to reality, right? This is May 8th, 2022, and the Giant Freaking Robot is from literally today, just a couple days ago, or a couple hours ago. I'm sorry. So I mean, sure, fine. That's the thing that pisses me off about clickbait news is that they're actually referencing a particular warp drive that goes back to 1994. Okay, and it was a theoretical thing then. So of course, right, if it's a theoretical warp drive in 94, you got to assume somebody's been working on it in some capacity since then. But MJ says they were doing it back in around 94. So I don't know. What do you believe? What do you believe regarding NASA? Of course, like I said, I believe they're a PR front for a secret space program. I really think that's the truth. How deep does a secret space program go regarding the military and everything else? That much I don't know, and I think it's definitely worthy of a thought and worthy of discussion. What do you believe? Right? Again, like Phil brought up. Phil. I think it's Phil. He brought up the fact that Corey Good and guys like this say that the secret space program is real and it's already out there. What about Gary McKinnon? He said he hacked into the servers back in the day, actual DoD servers, Pentagon servers, and they had non-terrestrial personnel listed on their rosters, right? So, which means, of course, we'd have to have an actual secret space program going on just outside of the Earth purview, but into some other things, including what would it be? Maybe outside of the solar system. Who knows? So again, I don't know. I don't have the answers here. You guys know me. I'm not trying to tell you any of this is real or any of it's not real, but it's fascinating to me because the question really begs some interesting answers and some interesting thought lines, and that's what we're doing. Rabbit holes, rabbit holes, rabbit holes. Advanced propulsion, what do you believe? Do you think this is already here? Do you think we're close to a breakthrough, or do you think no chance Mike space is fake? Love to hear your take no matter what. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037 or more. secret space programs, of course, advanced propulsion. Where would you go first if it was real? And, of course, your phone calls when we return. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds on the way. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, D-Live, and Twitter, and we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Tonight, we're talking about advanced propulsion. Yeah, that's right. The stuff of science fiction. Do you think we're close to a breakthrough? Or do you think this is all hogwash? Science fiction, Mike, space isn't even real. I'm open to all the ideas. What I was talking about previously, and I'm going to continue talking about tonight, is NASA being, of course, the PR front for a secret space program. I truly believe that's the case, but, well, there's some nuance there, meaning how deep does that rabbit hole go? Some people have said Marines on Mars. Some people have said actual advanced propulsion. Gary McKinnon supposedly hacked into some DOD servers way back in the day and found information regarding what was known as non-terrestrial officers. Is this all just a bunch of, let's say miscommunication, or is this people making up stories? Or, and I'm not calling anybody liars directly. I just mean maybe that let's say they planted this stuff in the actual Pentagon servers to maybe let it be found. You know what I mean? For some disinformation. I don't know. I have no idea. Like I said, regarding all that, I wasn't involved in those stories directly, and so I'm just like I said, just reading stuff on the internet like you guys, trying to figure out what the hell's really going on in this world. So the question tonight is this, right? Regarding advanced propulsion, is it real? Are we close to a breakthrough, and or is this something that we've had for quite a long time and we're hiding the fact that it's real? Again, secret space program or this type of stuff. And let's say we were close to a breakthrough, sort of that conspiracy speculation theater, right? In terms of, okay, let's say it was invented tonight, all right? This advanced propulsion technique, whatever it is to get you to the stars. Let's say it was invented tonight. All right. And you, of course, because I'm promoting you, because you are now the commander of Space Force. And so, well, tomorrow morning, the rocket ship is fueled up on the launch pad, ready to go. Advanced propulsion, astronauts ready. They've kissed their families goodbye and said, we will return. And you are the commander that gets to say where this expedition goes first. With the first advanced propulsion human beings have ever had, you get to decide where it is. What would you do? Where would you go? Would it be somewhere inside the solar system? Again, Nick in Massachusetts had a fantastic call, and probably the most pragmatic thing is to just go short distances to kind of start setting things up for people on different planets and doing all the rest of that. But right, I think there's some more exotic things, and in terms of that, me personally, I would want to go find Planet X. Hey, yeah, there's some gravity signature stuff out there in the Oort cloud that kind of is cocked over to one side, that they say there's a mass out there that we haven't been able to detect that is approximately 5 to 10x the size of Earth, and that's mathematically. So it seems to track that Planet X is actually out there, and I would love to know what's actually going on Planet X. That's where I'd go. But where would you go? This is not about me. This is about you. So that's what's on my mind tonight. Regarding advanced propulsion, do you think it's real? Do you think it's possible? Do you think that, maybe we've already achieved it and we just don't know, sort of in that Tesla free energy sort of vein, that conspiracy vein? I don't know. I don't have these answers. I just have questions because you know me. I'm the questions guy. But love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. Let's talk about this real quick. So this is what they were describing in this the brighter side.news. Warp drive is getting closer to reality, NASA says. This is from May 8th, 2022. And if you dig into what they're talking about this individual by the name of Harold Sonny White, the EagleWorks Laboratories Advanced Propulsion. And so he's saying that we're not there yet. He's just saying we're not there. The agency is deep in the process of performing trade studies to define the next chapter of human space exploration. What does it take to establish a human presence in cis translunar space. What does it take to send humans to an asteroid, or perhaps bring an asteroid back to a distant retrograde orbit around the moon? What comes after that? Do we go to the moon? Do we go to Mars? Although this is much further in the future, wink, wink, or is it? We can ask what would it eventually take for humans to explore the outer solar system? If the ultimate objective is the stars, then what might that look like? How hard is interstellar flight? Will we open up a brief discussion on the types of things? Actually, we will open up. He's talking about this in this nice little YouTube video. Links are all in the description down below if you want to check it out. But it is fascinating, right? So this is an old video. This is actually from what is this? This is from years ago. But this is exactly the thing they're citing regarding this new clickbait. Warp drive is getting closer to reality, NASA says. So let's go down here and find out exactly what he's talking about, right? With this article. Let's see. So Dr. Harold Sonny White, a NASA mechanical engineer and physicist, is still trying to find ways to solve the mass energy that is required for this type of advanced propulsion. He believes by bending ways in physics, it is likely possible to bring down the mass energy requirement mentioned in the Alcubierre theory. He also suggested there might be slight possibilities to change the shape of the ring of the negative mass to enable mass requirement of about 700 kilograms. White is now leading a team of physicists and engineers in NASA to build the White-Juday Warp Field Interferometer. All right, it is a beam-splitting interferometer which can easily detect and generate the tiniest warp bubble. Perhaps this might not instantly get you over to the Andromeda Galaxy, but eventually you'll get where you need to, and there you go. It says, though significant, we're still a long way before interstellar travel and warp drive becomes a reality. However, with advancements in technology, the answers we're looking for might be close enough. And so there you go, right? So this is what I mean about clickbait. Notice, he says, we're still a long way at the very bottom, but at the very top, they say, warp drive is getting closer to reality, NASA says. And there you go. There's why I hate news cycles and why I hate clickbait, and why, well, at least the clickbait can give us something to talk about in terms of theoretical things. But interestingly, this is where I got this from as well, so shout out to these guys. According to Star Trek, warp drive was invented in 2063. 2063. We're getting close to that, aren't we? We're getting close to that First Contact. And if you guys know anything about that, the Star Trek universe, First Contact was, of course, a movie. It was very well done, I thought. It was supposedly in 2063, after some sort of nuclear war with, of course, people. Earth is in sort of a post-apocalyptic state where things have gone back to, not quite Stone Age, but they're in the sense of doing the actual recreating technology from the pieces that are left over in this nuclear sort of aftermath, right? So that's what's happening here. But the interesting part is that in 2063, according to the Star Trek lore, this individual by the name of, you got it, Zefram Cochrane. If you guys aren't familiar with the movie, check it out. It is called Star Trek First Contact, and it's a fantastic movie. I thought very well done. But he was supposedly in the year 2063. This is when warp drive was actually achieved. And what they did, of course, is they did the warp drive and the rest of that stuff. And once it happened to be at exactly the particular time when a Vulcan contingent was flying by our solar system. And so they were able to detect the actual warp drive signature from the rocket of one Zefram Cochrane. Check it out. If you guys haven't seen that movie or haven't seen it in a while, go back and revisit it. It's very, very good in my opinion. But so that's the question, right? So what's it going to take? How close are we? And it's interesting that 2063 isn't really that far away, is it? It's really not that far away. I mean, what's 2022? That's like, what, 41 years? Let's give it 41 years. Do you think within the next 40 years or so, let's say 41 years, that we actually achieve some sort of advanced propulsion? And let's hope it doesn't take a nuclear war to get us there, and a post-apocalyptic Earth and the rest of that. But do you think that's feasible? It's interesting because we're getting closer, aren't we? Back in the day when they dreamed this up, it seemed like it may not have been a thing. But right now, 41 years doesn't seem like forever away, does it? I mean, for crying out loud, knock on wood, some of us might be alive in 41 years still, right? A lot can happen between now and then. Wish the best for everybody, but right, you can't ever count on tomorrow. But 41 years is, maybe worth doing. I don't know. So what do you think? So we're talking about this idea of advanced propulsion, all right? Warp drives. And do you think it's possible? Number one, do you think that we already have it? Number two, do you think there's something with our secret space program? Love to hear your thoughts on this. And if we did, let's say we invented this tonight. This is a conspiracy speculation theater. If we invented advanced propulsion tonight and then put you in charge of the Space Force, where would you go? You're the one that gets to say where we would go. So where would we go? That's the question. I'd go check out Planet X. I'd want to go find Nibiru and find out what the hell's going on there. Are the Anunnaki really there? Are they still there? Were they there? There's a lot of pretty wild stuff that we could check out. What's up? Trump Lamont says over on Rockfin, Mike, do you believe man went to the moon? I do. Here's where I waffle on that. I'm not exactly sure that we went when they said we went. How about that? I think it may have been obfuscated, and this is staged for television. I wasn't alive then, so I wasn't able to see it. I was just seeing the footage after the fact, and so I don't know. So I think we have that technology for sure. But did we go in the first mission when they said so? I don't know. I'm not sure I buy that, because what a catastrophe if we failed. Right? I mean, that would be super ugly. Height of the Cold War, all the rest of that. International embarrassment on like the international stage. I don't know. Like I said, I'm willing to believe that, let's say the details have been fudged. Let's say that. Okay. So, like I said, it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what you think. There you go. What do you think? Where would you go first? If you were the commander of the Space Force, where would you go? Where would we go first as humans? What would you want to see? Would it be something ridiculous, like a sort of situation with Space Force, or with our solar system or elsewhere? I see you, James. Going to get you in just a sec. Or would it be close or far, I guess, is the question. So looking to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. Thanks to James for jumping in, saving my butt per usual. James in Michigan, welcome to Troubled Minds. What's going on, my friend? How are you tonight?
I'm okay. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. What's going on, my man? Tell me you want to see the stars.
I do, but I want the vehicle to be as reliable and as tested and as basically comfortable as possible before I go. So, I'm not sure if that will happen in my lifetime. But at least not for the general public. I do think there is something to that. And we say it all the time about a lot of different things. I'm sure that different militaries and governments have technology that is ahead of what we have now. How far ahead? I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if it is ahead and if it is far ahead. But still, I think I wouldn't mind going. It's just it would have to be something that's been tested and it's really been tested and well designed well and improved on and over time. So, but I wouldn't mind going. I wouldn't mind checking out some places that haven't been looked into yet. Kind of. I always kind of worry about the possibilities of how First Contact, going back to that movie, how that could go, but still, it would be it'd be something. It'd be something different anyway.
That's for sure. So you don't have like a tickle your druthers sort of situation, and I'm not sure if that's a dirty term. Sorry about that if it is. But let's say if you given your druthers, I think that's the term. Where would you go first? Where would you? Maybe you didn't have to go yourself, but you could send people to go and bring back, let's say, a full 4K video, or by then it'll be like 12K video or whatever it is, right? Like just super ridiculous high resolution video of a particular place. Do you have an idea of what you might want to see regarding that? Because, of course, they could zip out there, do their recon mission, get some video and some stuff, and then come back and show it to you. So you could see the stuff almost firsthand in that case. Where would you want to go, James?
I really, at this point, with everything that we've heard about from Mars, I'd like to know what's going on there. So that's one place, but also just basically the furthest object in our solar system. I wouldn't mind going and check that out. So like Pluto, just to see what else is out there beyond that. But yeah, I don't know. There's part of me that would like to check out, at least get as close as we can to a black hole and see what that actually looks like. Obviously not too close, but
Giddy up. Have you seen Interstellar, James? You seen Interstellar?
No, I still have not yet.
Oh, snap. All right. I'm not going to spoil it. But based on what you just said, you know what I'm getting at. Not too close. Don't get too close.
Yeah.
It's amazing if you haven't seen that movie. But yeah, go ahead.
Just because there seems to be so many mysteries about what black holes are and what they can do. I know that's a whole other topic, whole other show probably. Whole other show that you've done before in different ways. But and just because of that, black holes and then suns, stars. There's just a lot of mysteries around them. And there's a lot of ideas about what they could be and how they could work that really, I'll just say it, portals, possibly. That's the idea, to me, is amazing. And to think of how that would work, considering, as far as we know right now, if you go too close to either of those things, you're dead.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, not too close. Hey, that's like perfect stuff. I'm sure you watch the hell out of Star Trek. That's like plot devices right there, man. Like black holes and suns that get too hot, supernovas and stuff. Hey, don't get too close.
They do that with a lot of things. Any kind of anomaly out there, they'll say, bring us in a little bit closer. And then, stuff goes wrong, and they're like, back off. It's like, well, yeah. Maybe you would have stayed back, but then, of course, then there'd be no show. So, yeah, it's pretty funny in a way. But I don't blame them either, on the other hand, to try to figure out what's going on. So yeah, stuff like that, really the things, the black holes, the stars, any other kind of anomalies out there, really just the strangest, the weirdest stuff out there is what I'd want to look into.
Hell yeah, give us the weirdest stuff. That's what I'm about to. Other than I'm fascinated. I want to see Planet X. I want to see Nibiru. I want to see if there's anything to this Anunnaki story, and maybe there's individuals living on Planet X right now as we speak. That'd be pretty amazing. I mean, and there's a lot of places too. They say Titan is one and Enceladus is another. They say that there might be life there. I mean, I think that's the most logical place to just kind of dip in and say, hey, look, are there any weirdo alien fish in this ocean? Right? That'd be kind of nice to see. Imagine that if there's like just gargantuan sharks in there, alien sharks. Oh my goodness! now we're really talking, right?
Oh, definitely. It's kind of funny that you mentioned that, because before anyone brought up that alien angle, I sent you a quote for possibly the end of tonight's show that has to do with that. So
nice
for the outro. But yeah, no, that's the thing. I would love to, if there is life out there, I would love to see it and meet it, and if we could communicate with it, that would be amazing as well.
100%. You're the best, James. Always a pleasure, bro. Thanks for popping in and saving my butt night after night. James here, a good friend of mine, good friend of the show. He's got a podcast called Salcedo Paranormal. He's an author. He writes paranormal books. Check it out. Links down in the description. Give James some love. And James, you're welcome to stay right there. As you know, we go for a third hour. So you do you. Whatever you're most comfortable with. Always a pleasure. Thanks for popping in. I appreciate it very much.
No problem. Yeah, I'll hang out.
Right on. I'll get back to James in a little bit. 702-957-1037. Advanced Propulsion. How soon? Which destination? Let's go to Cubes. Cubes in Minnesota. What's up, my man? Welcome back to Troubled Minds. How are you? Go right ahead.
Hey, I kind of lost my train of thought. I'm making a midnight snack, but my first thing is like what everything that we hear is like it's just what we hear. We never get to see or touch or smell or taste. It's just what they tell us. And so it's like warp drive, like what does that literally mean? I know we have movies that use the term warp drive, right? But like it could mean anything. Is it warp drive in like physical reality or a mental reality, or like I think when they first started trying to fly, like the Wright brothers, I mean, they probably didn't think this way, but people seen birds who flap their wings. Little did they know it's just like a misshaped piece of something or an airfoil that creates lift. So it's kind of subjective, you know what I mean? Like maybe we're there, we're just expecting something else. We're expecting something like warp drive from like Star Wars or Star Trek or whatever, but it's more, I don't want to say simple than that. I mean, it's more complex, but not as physical. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So sort of the idea, like we talked about Stargates in the past, but what about remote viewing? What if the Stargate is in your mind, right? Like that sort of thing. I get you.
Right.
Yeah, I get you. It is difficult to define, right? What does it even mean? And I think it's a hell of a question. So given that, though, if you got more on that, go ahead. We got a couple minutes left for you, and you can hang over after the break if you want to.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much what I was thinking, because when you try to think about some of this stuff, it's so vague. I mean, it is, but it ain't, because we have a definition of it in Hollywood. Go figure. But other than that, it's it's theoretical, and I mean, something theoretical could lead to whatever. But yeah, it's hard to consider because there is no clear, real definition, and everything we've been told for the most part is a lie. But then you talked about where would I go if that was an option?
Sure.
And that's I would just go as far as you can. For first, I would drive over Antarctica, because I mean, who do we know that's been across Antarctica in our day and age? Like let's be real.
Totally.
And I would get back fast enough to where I could advertise it to the world before they caught me. And other than that, like, just see if space is as, because that's another thing that's hard to comprehend. I can see why it would be as vast and infinite. And on the same token, it literally like wrecks my mind sometimes when I think about that, because it's like,
100%.
It's like everything in the physical realm has limits, except for space, which happens to be the place that nobody's been to. Well, not nobody, but your average person like us.
100%. I love where your mind's at, man. You are definitely a troubled mind through and through. First let's define advanced propulsion and warp drive. Does that mean physically, or does that mean mentally? You're spot on, bro.
Exactly.
I think definitions are important, aren't they?
That's the hardest part,
100%.
I think sometimes that they throw that out there to keep us like, stuck on one thought, when in reality it's not like that. They just, you know what I mean? They try to keep us thinking about something that seems so freaking far off, because to us, we don't have the technology or the money or the time or whatever, or the resources. It seems, implausible, but in reality, it's simpler than that when you have the time and the resources to put the time and energy into thinking about it and making it happen,
Right. Definitely. You're on the game, my friend.
About it.
Okay, I appreciate the phone call. We got to get off the radio, so very a pleasure talking to you. Call back more, man. I love where your mind's at. 416 Cubes over on Rockfin. Thank you. Have a fantastic night. Thanks for the call. There you go. Easy as that. Hey, look, let's define it. Let's first define what warp drive actually means. And this is what I'm talking about, right? When you get amazing people together and ask the right questions, you get amazing answers. You get amazing ideas, amazing thoughts. That's what this show's show's always been about. Don't get mad at me because I'm not a flat earther. Don't get mad at me because I think space is real. Let's just consider the concepts and talk about them. And as we finish, if you're listening to us on the Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop Lighting the Void. If you're listening to us on any other platform, including the podcast feed, stay tuned for a third hour of Troubled Minds. And as it ends, it goes exactly like this. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night. All right, not quite perfect. A second or two over, but that's all right. Can't be right on the money every single damn time. All right, we're still talking about this, guys. We got a third hour of Trouble Minds coming up. I got some food to chew down here real quick and another cold one to grab. But what we're going to do is take a quick break, and we're going to be right back. And it looks like we got Joseph in Iowa calling in. Looking to hear from you guys as well, right? I think this is a fun thing to think about. If we had advanced propulsion techniques, warp drive as it were, I like the idea that Cubes brought up. Hey, maybe it's not physical. What if it's mental warp drive? Ha-ha! We just open up a whole level of conversation here. What do you think? What would be the first place you would actually go? Would it be close? Would it be far? Would it be scientific? Would it just be that you wanted to check out some weird shit, like maybe Cydonia on Mars? Love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Don't go anywhere. More Trouble Minds on the way. Joseph in Iowa. And your calls. Where do we go first? If we invented advanced propulsion tonight, what's the destination tomorrow? Don't go anywhere. Be right back. More Trouble Minds on the way. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we're streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, D-Live, and Twitter, and we're taking your phone calls as we discuss this idea of advanced propulsion. I like where Cubes is at with his idea of what does that mean? Is it a physical propulsion? Is it a mental propulsion? What if you could, let's say, skip the entire physical propulsion aspect and, let's say, transfer your consciousness to a different part of the universe? Hey, remote viewing, right? Why not? Hey, this is Troubled Minds. We can talk about that shit, too, because, hey, nobody tells us what to say. Nobody tells us what to think. What are your thoughts on this? If we invented propulsion, advanced propulsion warp drive, first let's define it. Fantastic thought by Cubes over there on Rockfin. Where would you go first? What would you want to see first? Would it be somewhere close like Mars, Cydonia, this type of thing? Would you want to go further out into the universe itself? Would you want to see different galaxies? How far? How deep? Like James said, are we looking at black holes and crazy suns and nebulas and whatnot? What are we looking at? Love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. Let's go to Joseph in Iowa. Joseph, welcome to Troubled Minds. Go right ahead, my friend.
Hey, I was thinking about the beaming your consciousness out, and that maybe the ancients were doing that, and there is a receiver somewhere out there, but it doesn't benefit us or something. I was thinking maybe maybe we are the receiver to that, and on the other end there, it doesn't benefit them or something, you know? And that's the main focus of making all this technology is to connect it a two-way system, right? So you can beam back and forth.
Yeah, just sort of beaming your consciousness, right? Sort of like a Star Trek teleporter, but without it physically at all, right? I mean, I think that's... Yeah. Once you start looking into that things start to get super weird, don't they?
Yeah, it makes, the lizards, I don't know if I believe the lizards. I think it's a very good way to put it, on, there could be, on, they just have technology, right? That is, and they're trying to communicate, but we're just going to them. We're oh, there's a way out. Spaceship, boom. We're to the lizards now. And they're dang, what do you got for us? You didn't actually come here in a craft. or something, like, or you didn't do anything, like, I don't know. That's just a thought I had. Like it, or like, and then I was also thinking, if I were to travel anywhere, I would travel back in time. Cause like they say, like if you travel out at light speeds, if you have a warp, you're probably traveling faster than light. So you'd be traveling, you could probably pick like it to go forward or backwards in time, I imagine. Like you could kind of observe the universe, shoot out real quick and observe the universe back in time. And then you would really know where to go. You'd have a better calculation on where you want to go in the universe and when you want to be in the universe, kind of thing.
Yeah, I love the idea. I don't know, like I'm with you, I don't know how much of any of this stuff is real, but kind of being able to just say I want to be there or want to be here and go check this stuff out, it does open up a whole lot of fucking right, let's do this. We're like, what are we waiting for? And again, you know, like I said, not trying to piss off the flat earthers and people that believe space is fake and all the rest of that. I just think it's fascinating to go out and look up at the stars and be like, hey, there's something out there, right? There's definitely something out there. But
even if it's flat, maybe like we're going to another flat plane, and like once you're going out there, like it's just warping your time and space. Maybe, I mean, there's many ways to explain. I mean, if it's happening, if we're doing this stuff, then I mean, there's many ways to explain it. But like, if you're getting results, I don't know. And like, I mean, that's survival right there. I mean, we crossed the oceans and stuff, and now we're stuck. You know, we got all of our eggs in one basket. So to not try and to just, and especially hope on like a one-way server, like we can beam our consciousness out, is just crazy. I think like that's the last thing that we should ever think, because like it's all up to us physically right now. Because like, I mean, even if we disappear, we don't know where we went, you know? We could go to a portal or a place that isn't even physical like this, and we made it, but now we're in another basket.
That's an interesting thought. So let's go back to what Cubes is saying, right? In terms of, okay, so what actually is advanced propulsion? What does a warp drive mean? Is it a physical thing like Hollywood tells us, like that theoretical idea of a starship? Or is it, again, a mental thing where we're able to maybe warp drive our mind somewhere? I like where you're going with this, and that what happens if you send your mind so far away? Is there such thing as a galactic mind trap, right, that's waiting for like remote viewers to wander in, and then it traps you and you can't get back out? What about that? We're getting somewhere, Joseph. We're getting somewhere.
Yeah. And, I mean, who knows? It could be Earth in a way, you know? Or like an SOS call could call all, like, let's say there's like a galactic web where like there's, and then like it would be like an SOS call that would drive people to start coming to certain places like Earth, because like we're kind of screwed right now on Earth, it seems.
I think they just want us to
with
believe
the volcano.
That. I don't think that's the case.
I mean,
they want us to believe it.
We're not like as far, like we're not like, yeah, they do want us to believe that, but we definitely could be better, you know, if if you look at the past, if you add it up and stuff, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Definitely could be better.
Yeah, 100%. That's for sure. I mean, but still, you know, I think there is something to do with, you know, positive energy and with, thinking glass half full all the time, and, you know, trying to pick people up instead of put people down. You know, I think there's something to that. So I'm not willing to give up just yet, but I think you're right. They want us to believe that the Earth is irrecoverable, so that they can do what they want. They can reform all the laws in their own draconian idea of the way it should be. And then, of course, that's not the way the world should work. because few people should not be dictating the way many people live, and that's a whole other topic for a whole other day. But okay, so Joseph brought us to the idea of the galactic mind trap. I love it, man. Maybe we're gonna have to do a whole show on that idea at some point as well. So where exactly would you go? Do you have like a particular place? Like, would you hit Mars, or would you hit what, Saturn first, or what do you think regarding just a standard traditional warp drive Star Wars style? Where would you go?
Like I said, I would go out and observe.
Just as far as possible?
Possible. I would.
Close or far?
Yeah, just like. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, maybe I'd go. I mean, me myself, if I was in charge, I'd definitely ask someone who knew what the hell they're talking about, because I have no idea, like exactly where to go. But I would think like you would go where nothing is, right? So then it's kind of like flying in the sky and then looking down at the ground. So like if you were to maybe go in if there's like a bunch of different, if we're surrounded, maybe get in the in-between and observe our little pocket of it. But if you had a warp drive, I feel like you would be able to do a lot.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm just saying, right, we'd be able to do a whole bunch of stuff after that, but I mean, just sort of like your own morbid curiosity of like, well, let's check this out, right? Like, you're in charge for a minute.
I want to find the beginning.
The beginning, yeah. That's a hell of a spot. The Big Bang. I'm with you. Back in time, all the rest of that. I love where your mind's at too, man. You're a thinker, that's for sure. 100%. You're in the right place. So what else you got? We got a call behind you. We got Kelly as well. But what else you got for us, my friend?
That's it. That was really it.
Right on. I appreciate the phone call. Joseph in Iowa, a good friend of mine, good friend of the show's. Check it out. He's got a YouTube channel. It's called IO Walks. It's links in the description down below. It says follow Joseph here. Click it. Go say hi. He does original music. He does live streams. I popped in. Like I said, I'm pretty impressed. He's a talented dude. He's got a knack for some musical stuff. So keep up the good work, Joseph. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the call, bro.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks a lot. Have a fantastic night. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link, troubledminds.org. We're talking about advanced propulsion. How soon? Which destination first? What do you want to see out there? Again, we can back it up to what Cube said. What does advanced propulsion mean anyway? What is a warp drive? Is it a physical thing, or is it something for our mind? What about for our consciousness? What about the idea of a galactic mind trap to catch, let's say, warp drive consciousnesses that are just kind of meandering around the galaxy? Does that exist? What's up, Sherry in the chat over on Rockfin says, yep, it's real. That's real. It's a dog-eat-dog out there in the universe. What's happening, guys? Love to hear your thoughts. Let's go to Bernays Sauce in Michigan. Bernays, what's up, BS? You're on Troubled Minds. Go right ahead.
How you doing tonight, Michael?
Okay, my man. How about yourself?
Not bad. I need a little juice on this, but we could already have the propulsion right now. If you take the nanotechnology that we have and you build yourself magnets, you now have the ship that you have the hoverboard from Back to the Future with small ones. With the bigger ones, you have Elysium, like you were talking about. From there, all you need is to drive it, and that's only just a small pulse. Once you're in space, and you have your speed, I believe we are actually sitting on it. We're sitting on the brake of this, but like I said, we need a little juice, to think it over.
Gotcha. So you think we are close then? You don't believe in the secret space program that's doing this, and they've been doing this for 50 years or whatever? You think that's hogwash? But we are close to a advanced propulsion.
I think they've been doing it. They needed to get to the place that you could defeat the gravity by building your own electromagnetic field without a major cost, and that's by magnets. And
I see.
With the nanotechnology now, you can use anything. All that battery can be laid out differently now. like arts parts laid down on top of each other by the technology and the power.
Okay, all right, I can buy that. So what's out there? We just needed something else to kind of link that anti-gravitic sort of magnetic field. So are we out there? It's happening, or I missed the part where it is or isn't. You think we've got it? We're not. Are we using it? I guess that's the question. So we're actually using it, you think?
I believe we are.
Okay, and
now, with Big Baby Juice, you look at is it Musk's rockets that land themselves again?
Yep.
Now, if you had the gravitic power that you could actually launch this stuff, you wouldn't want to tell anybody. So you put a candle on the end of it. Now, that's real maybe juice for you, but that's just for fun. But what the hell? They haven't been telling us any truth, have they, Ben, Michael?
No, I think that's for sure. And, they always point to, national security reasons and things like this. I don't know. There's some things that are larger than national security that like, we need to get over it and just be like, hey, look, if we have this stuff, then we need to start treating people better on this earth, because butchering people and lying to people is not okay by me, 100%. So if it's going on, how far do you think, let's say, Gary McKinnon hacked into, again, like a government computer way back in the day, and he said that there's actually he saw files that suggested there's actual off-Earth officers. I think what do you say? Non-terrestrial officers in space. Do you think that's legitimate, or do you think that's fabricated somehow? The idea. I'm not calling him a liar. I don't like to call people liars, but right. Do you think that's a legitimate thing right now?
I would say that there's got to be a little juice to it, but the feasibility, looking at all the data that's come out over all this time, it all leads to that there's something going on that they're hiding from us. They're definitely not a straight answer. So you can't get the truth there. So everything that you're reading kind of leads up to that there is something else going on other than what we're being told. And we can trace this all the way back to the Thule Society in Germany, if you want to run rabbit holes, back to going to Antarctica, chasing down all the old information, all the old symbology, all the old knowledge that they did. And then at the end of the war, the Germans win or lose, and we win, but it sure seems like the same guys are in charge today. And there's a thing that's written that says we can't go to Antarctica ever. So who did they meet down there? What type of technology is being traded for crash test dummies, which we are? I'm rambling.
No, you're good, man. I like the people as crash test dummies, because what the hell else are we, right? I think historically that fits. It tracks. It's definitely seems to be what we're used as. But yeah, I don't know. The Antarctica stuff. So my brother actually has been to Antarctica. As part of a Nat Geo thing. He had some connections and was able to go, and not through like you would expect. Like it's a long story, but knew somebody that was involved in like a Nat Geo cruise. So he's actually been there. He's got pictures of penguins and stuff, but they didn't go deep into it. They were just kind of on the coast, right? Because you can't go like the center of the Antarctica, because of course, right, the dog sled stuff and like terrible conditions and all that. But I mean, people can go there. It's just not like you think they can go there, right? Just FYI.
Well, if you read the UN Charter, it's only for science on the surface. Now, what about the ice? Mike, can you trust any of these fellas? And I'm not talking about your brother.
Right, of course.
I'm not talking about your brother. I'm talking about all the other rules. And, hey, you get to go to Antarctica and see it. Okay, thank you, sir. And can I? No. And I'm not knocking your brother one bit. Okay?
Yeah, no, I got you. But notice he did go as part of a scientific expedition because that's what Nat Geo does, right? So it is interesting that you can only go and you can only go so far and it's only allowed so much. So that is in and of itself one of those things that makes you scratch your head a little bit, right? So yeah, I'm with you.
Guys like John Kerry can fly there on the night of the election and go get lost at Shackleton Shack. I mean, what the? I think Newt Gingrich was with them on that trip. What are we sending guys to the South Pole for on certain nights? Well, let me have another drink of juice here on that one.
Yeah, right. Because of course, let me help you.
But that is true. That is true. Both of them were there.
I've never heard that, but let's throw another wrinkle into this. Maybe it's the only place on Earth where you can, let's say, conduct particular rituals, if you know what I mean.
I think so. Rituals in business.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I don't know, man. I've never heard of that. Could you do me a favor and drop that in the chat? I didn't hear exactly the term. What is it called? Where were they?
I think it's Shackleton Shack.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to look into that. I've never heard of it.
There's supposedly a large amount of booze buried there. Other people say there's other things, but it seems like a real strange. They go down to one place. He talks his global warming, and then they go have a private trip with a few friends to this place. So maybe it's just drinking, but maybe not. I guess we're paying for them to drink all over the world now.
Yeah, right. Hey, now we know where the tax money went. At least some of it. You're the best. Hey,
don't start me. I'll be worse than you were the other night.
Yeah, right. That's fine. Hey, so real quick before you go, so where would you go given advanced propulsion? You said Antarctica. Where else after that? Is there some place that you would check out, like Mars or otherwise? What do you think?
Well, okay. Well, if we're going spheres and out,
correct.
I would just fire her up and park over at Mars and just take a look.
Fair enough.
If you're talking warp speed, you're talking a jump in a matter of what, a minute in our real time?
Yeah, snap your fingers. You're there.
Time?
Yep.
Right. I think I'd just go look at the solar system first, figure out if I didn't have to dive through a deep hole on the southern pole to get through inner Earth to get out of here.
Amen.
So,
amen to that. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
My brain hurts, but I want a hoverboard. So if you can find me one of those in Vegas, I need one, man.
Okay, you got it.
Actually,
you got it.
I need a hover chair at the moment. But.
You got it. I'll keep my eyes peeled for you. Bernays Sauce, always a pleasure. I appreciate the phone call. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being part of this, bro.
Love you, Mike.
You too, man.
Love you, Mike.
Appreciate it. Have a great night. There you go. 702-957-1037. That's Bernays Sauce. Check him out in the chat. Funny dude, clearly and obviously. What do you think? I think he's got some good points there. What's actually going on in Antarctica? That's a good way to put this. We're looking to hear from you. We're talking about advanced propulsion. Some good ideas now that has kind of surfaced here. What about Antarctica? We can add that to the list of places we would see. What about the idea of defining, let's say, a warp drive? Is it a warp drive in physical terms like Hollywood? We would expect out of that, or is it let's say warp drive of the mind, sort of remote viewing style? Why not? 702-957-1037. Kelly in Colorado, thanks for being patient, my friend. Welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you tonight? What the hell's going on?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good, man. Just chilling, talked about crazy shit. You know me. What about you? What's on your mind tonight?
I just wanted to pop in and say, give a couple things out there, a couple ideas, and then, just some places where I'd like to visit.
Sure, definitely. What you got?
So, first thing I would do if I had propulsion, well, I don't know if anybody I don't know if anybody's mentioned, I kind of missed the first part of the show, but I know they got, I don't know about warp drive, but I know they got ion engines that they want to use now. There's actually a video you can view on YouTube there. There was, I think it's a university. There was a couple of kids that it's a small toy, like a small model, but it shows that it has lift. That the ion engines. Actually, I believe there was a company that's wanted to use that ion propulsion to for like a motorcycle type, and not so much a car, but like a motorcycle type vehicle, and they want to use that ion engines. So, but I know that propulsion, you would need as much fuel like that. You would need for like a rocket or something like that. But yeah, that's interesting. But if you did have that type of technology, right, for warp drive, for me, I would hit every planet and every moon that every planet has, right? That's what I would do first. The first thing, the reason why I would do all that is because you got to get to know the planets within your solar system, and depends on like how the direction of the rotation of the planets around the sun. Usually they say it's more like a circle, right? So I would take the aerial view of it, and then you could start mapping the galaxy or the universe, or your galaxy first. Start mapping. That's the thing I would do.
Which actually, we did have that early on, where somebody was describing that they kind of just start dipping around and kind of checking out what happens in the solar system, and kind of expanding slowly out like we should. I mean, like I called it pragmatic, and I think it is. It's that's what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to just sort of like, let's get to Mars, let's zip people over there with all the stuff they need, make sure they're cool, and then let's go check out the next thing, right? But you know us, man. We're not trying to like world build here on Mars. This is maybe juice. The sun's down, for crying the F out loud. So I mean, where would you want to go, right? Like there's got to be one place where you're like, oh hell no, I'm going there first. I want to see what the hell is up, right? I think that's the thing to me, right? It's fascinating. I said Planet X. That's me. I want to see if that shit's out there, and I want to see what's on it, right? I'm super fascinated with that. But there's got to be something in terms of where you'd want to go. Like again, all that good stuff. And God bless you guys for being like, you know what? I do what's best for humanity. Yeah, God bless you. But we're just saying, hey, let's give yourself a vanity mission first. What would that be, Kelly?
Well, yeah, I'd be like with you first too. Then I would, after I do that first off, right? Because that's going to be including the Planet X. Because then I want to find out if history is correct by what are these ancient tribes and these ancient people we're talking about. Even like the Dogon, right? They were talking about like Sirius B. So I would go to that constellation. Then you have the Orion's Belt, all these pyramids, all were within the reason why they were creating some of these things. And the connection between all these pyramids is shaped like that of Orion's Belt. Then I would hit that star system. Then you have the Seven Sisters, which is the Palladians. Those are the areas I would like to figure out, because those are actually just tracking or markers maybe to tell that where these people were from. And you have the South America, or even the Native Americans that were down in like the southern part. They have some crazy. They built all their the Hopi. They built all their. They didn't stay was weird, because they said that the claim is that they built like a place where they stayed, like a large village, and then they would just abandon it and create another one. But if you would take an aerial view, it's a part of a star system. So that would be mine, would be something like that. I would start hitting those places to find out if the stories are true. I'd be like with you. But after that, man, I don't know. If you have that type of ability, or let's even say even something better than that, with like some of these theories where you can jump gate through this, through stars, and if you could do that and end up at another star in another galaxy and far, far away, I don't know, man. Who knows? You just start doing it, I guess. But
see, hey, the thought, it kind of gives you the giggles inside a little bit, doesn't it? Like us dreamers and science nerds are like, yeah, hell yeah, double hell yeah, let's do this. Let's just get out there. Let's start looking, right? Let's not waste any more time. Let's go look at what the hell's going on out there. What's really going on out there? Yeah, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. What else you got? Go right ahead.
No, well, besides that too, that's what you kind of touched on earlier too, was the secret space program. I believe that's real. Honestly, I believe that's been going on since for a while. That's why my theory is too, with all these rocket launches, they're not just replacing some, like astronauts and food and oxygen or whatever to that place, or satellites, man. To me, that's horseshit. I think they're supplying something. What I mean? The nations are around, because then you can go into like the maybe juice, right? But they have the vector symbol, right? Everybody that has a space program, they all have that symbolism within their patches or whatnot, or even like NASA. It's like that little weird vector symbol. There's been a lot of videos on YouTube you can see on those, but yeah, man, there's got to be something hidden. There's a hidden agenda, not just with the United States. It's a collection of these countries, So that's my, that was my question. Why, how many rockets we really needed, And they saying that it's all satellites. I don't believe there's many satellites either. Like if we had video or pictures of any like that, we would be bombarded. Or even if I'm looking through my telescope, I got all kinds of lenses, the lenses you can use from wide frame to like zero, and I can looks like I'm putting you on top of the moon, but yet you don't see anything, traversing across the sky like that constantly, because if that was the case, you would constantly be seeing it. Maybe you'd almost be blocking it, or at least constantly flying past it, I don't know, man. For me, there's something that's calling us towards a different spot, and for me, that's why I do a lot of the ancient. One of the ones for sure would be Mars, because the ancient word for it was Lamu, and the face that are carved on it, that's the prince that died, the first king that died away from their planet Nibiru. His name was Alalu. He's supposed to be buried in there. There's a cave on the side where he's buried into, and then they just carved the face from the distance, from space. But yeah, that would be a place to go. The whole Cydonia region.
Yeah, hell yeah, I'm with you there. Speaking of caves on Mars, did I know you saw that thing we were talking about? That actual like photograph from Curiosity rover. Did you see that shit? What do you think about that? Yeah, the door. There's a fucking door on Mars. I'm putting it in the chat, or putting it on the stream. I'm going to put it up so you guys can see it, and I'll give you the link of where this actually came from. This is an actual photograph from Curiosity rover, we're told, of actual Mars, and it appears as if there's a fucking door. There's a fucking door. Here we go. I'm gonna just make this full screen, zoom it up, and you guys can see. I want to know is this where Ash lives? This is kind of what I want to know. What do you think, Kelly? What's your thought on the photograph?
Yeah, man, I don't know. When I first seen that too, I was like, but it's only evident too, man. Like within the stories that I've read and stuff, that it's most of it was the Agigi, and they would be, if something happened, a calamity, what they called it. They called it back then. It was a calamity that happened. Kind of spoke on that the other night, but yeah, the only place you would go would be underground. Because if it was a watery a planet, kind of like Earth, is what the claim was, because they even talk about it. They landed but next to a river. That's why where they found the body. That was it was another guy that took was supposed to be take this guy Lalu down to the planet, and then he died, right, and then he buried him. But anyway, they talk about there's water down there. There's already proof that Mars was a watery planet at one time. So if that's the case, just like Earth, you would have water underground and caverns, right? Kind of like that movie Dune, where they had all those water caverns and shit down there underneath the ground. And if that's the case, and plus they say there's even more water underground than there is on the planet of the Earth, on the surface. And if that's the case, man, there's, of course there's going to be life, but I don't know about the surface. That's why they're always talking about maybe trying to jumpstart, bringing it back to life. But I don't know, man. That's one place I would really like to investigate, But all these planets here in this solar system as well. But yeah, that's one place I'd like to check out.
Yeah, Mars seems to be, right? If there was some claims say that we came from Mars, like it was sort of the motherland, and we started there and migrated here because of some cataclysm or whatnot, and then as through time and just cataclysms on Earth just kind of stone aged us technology-wise, and then we're kind of rising back through it, and now we're heading back to Mars. now it's back to the beginning. Crazy stuff. I see you, Alan, over there on YouTube. How are you, bro? Thanks for hanging out with us. Yeah, I mean, wild stuff, dude. I want to see Mars too, and some of the places, like you said, that they don't talk about a lot. You've been talking about Cydonia for a long time on this show. The pyramids out there, the face on Mars. What the hell is really going on? Now we get this. This is this week. They just released this image, and this looks like a frickin' doorway on Mars. Yeah, man. I don't know. Shit seems, I don't know, upside down, right? For sure. Seems like we're in the upside down.
Yeah, I ran across some old video or some old pictures. Somebody had it. It was, I'd have to look. I think it's in one of my books that, you were talking about that, that I was sharing with you guys at one time way back in the day. But there's some old pictures of where, like, from the satellites that we had around Mars. And this is like, I think the 70s, 80s or something, right? But they have pictures of the surface and what looks to be like, I don't know, man, herds of animals. That shit looks crazy. I don't know if you guys ever seen that, or even like domes. They look like these round, kind of look like a dome house, I kind of like those too. Those, it's a dome-shaped home, but it looks like it was like almost made of glass or something. You can almost see through it. They have some weird, bizarre pictures from that. I don't know if you can get on the internet and still look for it. I haven't done that in a while, but yeah, man, they have some weird shit. I swear, it looks like almost like a fence line or like these giant sheep or something, and these other ones that look like, I don't know, like a buffalo or some fucking shit. But yeah, man, they got some weird shit on there.
And well, here we are. I mean, we have this brand new. What's inside the doorway, Kelly? If you got to guess here, you think there's critters living inside there? Do you think this is a dwelling of some sort? Like, what the fuck?
Well, if we're going with the Sumerian talk, it's the Agigi, right? That's the ones that they use mostly on Mars for refining the gold or whatever, and also mining there on that planet. But if that's the case, if they were digging here and under all these tunnels, that because they're even De Beers, the people, the diamond company, when they were doing around, they said that in South America, and there's like even they know that they have like ancient gold mines down there in South America. Pam Bam, I don't know if you've read across that, if she's listening tonight, but in South America had De Beers diamond company was doing a lot of digging, but they were finding these ancient gold mines, and some of the stuff were. It was pretty deep, right? And they were like, what do we do with this shit? And they were just telling them, just blow it up. But if that's the case, some of that stuff that's like blowing up, for me, it would be like blowing up the pyramids, man, because some of that stuff that we could, find in, that's underground like that. For example, those guys that found that weird door handle, or like looks like for me, it would be like in the Navy, we'd call it like, a door lock. You would just spin and it would, lock all the door on each corner, right? All you just needed just to turn it, a door handle. But that's what it looks like, and it was in coal, and that shit would be like, the claim is, I guess to make coal would be millions of years, but man, they're finding some weird objects on this planet too. So I don't know, man. Pretty crazy to even think of something like that. But then I would be, traversing elsewhere, man. Of course. But you got to have, you got to treat the thing like a ship, like even, explorers back in the day, you would have to have some kind of weaponry to protect yourself, because you never know what's going to be out there. Kind of like Star Wars or Star Trek. Yeah, that's what you would have to be prepared. Something like that. That's where you get into that whole, the secret space program, and also those videos I shared for this was a while ago, but on one of the older shows, but you can see that on YouTube where this guy was filming. He thought stars, but it was like these deep space objects. I can't remember his name right now, but if you can just look it up. Deep space objects. This guy's got some videotape of him actually videotaping it. He pulls away and then pulls to the screen. And these things are pretty compelling. You could tell it's kind of a weird ship.
Yeah, I believe that was around Saturn, right? I think it was at the rings of Saturn. They caught these objects. If I'm remembering the right thing here, but they seem like blobs, right? Like sort of like maybe entities, not ships directly, something like that.
No, that's a different thing. The ring makers of Saturn, that's another one.
Okay.
But they have like big giant ships in the line that you see nothing, just like the ship sitting there, and then after that, it's like the ring is starting to start. That's pretty incredible. But no, these ones are like he said he was looking at. So he wanted to look at Orion's belt, the stars that are in Orion's belt, and he ran across this thing. That's where he started first seeing them. Because he thought, from the planet Earth, if you're looking at it, it just looks like a star. Because he says it moves, in concession with the stars, in the sky. So that's how he thought that maybe. So he started looking at it, and sure enough, that's where he first found one. So he started looking in other places, and like directions of like what I was talking about, and different, how different cultures were using different star systems. And he says he's found these things. And he's filmed a lot of them, man. And some of them, like, they change shape real fast. I mean, real fast. If he's filming it and this thing's out in the deep space and it's like, it spreads out or some shit, man. And then it just collapses again back to the original shape it was. It's pretty incredible. I think his name is Jean-Luc Bazard or some shit like that. I'll post it. I'll have to find it real quick and then I'll post it later on Discord. I'm pretty sure some buddies out there know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people out there some way smarter than me. Okay, so what else you got regarding, let's say, secret space? Where would you go first? The jump drives? Anything else you got to add to what you already said?
Well, just like the guy speaking on the video, he kind of like doing a little commentating on the video, the longer ones, because there's 3 of them I'll have. There's one that's, the shorter one, I think it's like 7 minutes, 10 minutes, and one that's like 45 minutes. But he doesn't start his, like, they give you a bunch of like storyline, and for the longer one, it's about like maybe 15 minutes in it. And that's when this guy, they go into this guy's, what he's found, out there in deep space. But I'm like, with him would be, if those things that he's filming is not ours, well, he's kind of saying that he hopes it's ours. Because the size of these things are immense, right? They're huge, right? They're miles long. So he says he hopes that that the deep space, because that's where they talk about the secret space program, and that he was hoping that let's hope that it's ours, because if it isn't, I hope that these things are that obviously they're not really attacking us, but who is it? They're watching something. If they're moving constantly with the rotation of the planet, that and in the same spot almost. He says it's incredible. So that would be me, I'm like, man, if that ain't ours, then I hope, that we at least know who the hell it is in some cases.
Yeah, right. The devil you know versus the devil you don't know. That's give me the one I know all day long. At least I know what I'm dealing with. Yeah, if there's something else out there that's not, holy shit. Yeah, for sure. I'd love to see that stuff. As always, if you guys know Kelly here, a good friend of mine, he's been with Trouble Minds for literally years, calling in all the time, sharing great information. Check it out. He shares a lot of that information on the Discord. So pop in the Discord, troubledminds.org. If you haven't joined the Discord yet, come say hi. He's active in there. He posts all kinds of stuff from time to time, photographs and links and all kinds of stuff. And he's saying he'll post those talks, also the YouTube videos right there in the Discord. Great stuff as always, Kelly. You're the best, brother. What else you got?
That's it, man. I just want to kind of give my 2 cents, I guess you would say. Just kind of that's an interesting topic because if we have the capability, let's say we don't have any of that, right? And we're just like trying to get to space, like how everybody thinks we are with rockets, right? I mean, how long do you think? I mean, Elon Musk, though, some people, if you love him or hate him, he actually made NASA look like fools. For me, in my eyes, anyway. But he's using how his technology where we can reuse. I mean, for me, that's what I was always pissed off about. Like, what are we doing with these rockets? That are coming back down. Yeah, that's like a waste of money, taxpayer money. What the hell are we doing? And this is for how long are we supposed to be going to space? With NASA, for what, decades, man. And then here comes Elon. Within like what, less than 10 years or something. He's got rockets where they can launch and re-land each other. And then reuse them, for other launches. I mean, that's incredible. Like, and just like matter of, quick. It seemed like less than 5 years to me. I don't know, man. And now he's, building stuff where he like I said, if you love him or not, this guy's like proven that we've been wasting some fucking money. And so if we're wasting some money and all these trillions of dollars that even the Pentagon says they just happen to lose. Where's that money going? See, this country's rich as hell, and a lot of the money that you got all this secret shit. Where I mean, I've been military. There's some of these what we call different money, right? That how the government spends the money, but there's some that are. I mean, they have no budget, bro. I mean, that's just whatever you need, whenever you need, how you need it, and if we don't have it, we'll make it.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, they're fucking it up. Like you said, where's NASA been? NASA's been MIA for pretty much our whole damn lifetime, right? Like, hey, they went to the moon. We don't do these things because they're easy. We do them because they're hard, said JFK. They went to the moon, we're told. Then they go to the moon, and then they stop going to the moon. Why?
Yeah.
Weird. Where's NASA been? NASA's been, let's say they've just been MIA. It sure seems like it. And I agree with you. Yeah, Elon's making NASA look like a bunch of clowns.
Yeah. I mean, like the best thing for me when I think at all that stuff that NASA did was a space shuttle program, right? Where you can launch that thing and then land it back down and, even snatch a satellite and bring that back down, That was pretty incredible, that they were. I don't know why they even stepped away from that shit. It was seen to me, and then even now to even talk about the whole moon situation. Their claim is they lost everything, every tape, every the only thing that they had is what was out there that they put out, but everything is gone. I mean, how? And now
everything. You're right. Everything's gone.
Have the technology anymore. You don't have the technology, bro. That was in the 60s. What do you mean you don't have no technology to get back? I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't know, man. That's why I have a harder time when that shit comes out their own mouth to believe that we even went there. That for me, it's like I would like to think that we went there, but everything that's compelling. Because people have broken this shit down. There's plenty of videos out there, but there's some deep ones where it's like, man, come on. I mean, how do you explain that? You just can't, And then just say that you lost everything. Everything? There's no fucking way, bro. Yeah, there's no way.
Like we always say, if the government's that incompetent, which is it? Are they that incompetent? Or is it like actually that devious, right? Like that's the whole fucking argument. And like how did they lose everything? And they're like, oh, we can't use those old spacesuits because they won't work for modern space travel. What the fuck do you mean? So how did they work for old school space travel? You guys are like, I'm going to say things I'm going to regret. APOC says John Leonard Walson is the guy's name. Is that right? That ring a bell, Kelly?
Yeah, that's him. If you look up him, I mean, he's got some incredible videos in there. And I'm telling you, these things are huge, bro. And they're ships because he's got the detail where he's got a pretty good telescope because That's the type I want, where you can see it through a screen and then record it. You just hook up your computer, but then you can hook it up to where, it's the speed of whatever's going across the sky, so where you can just sit there and film it for a minute. But with his too, you still got to move it. But if you can have one that controls with the time and speed of the everything that's moving across the sky, you can even just lock on that where you can just constantly film it all night if you wanted. That's how some people do with like the moon. They have those programs for it, but man, I'm telling you, man, check some of his shit out. It's pretty nice. Makes you think, man, because that's where I look at that and I'm like, man, okay, so that's got to be either the space program or these are alien species that we have. That the stories are true, that we have somebody's got a contract with these guys, or they wouldn't even be around. You know what I mean? Or why would they even be sticking around like that? Maybe they live on different planets. Who knows? But these things are huge, and they're there. And it looks pretty damn telling to me.
Amen. Amen to that. Looking forward to sharing those videos. Drop those in the Discord. I'll check them out later. You're the best, bro.
All right, brother. Have a good night.
You too, man. That's Kelly in Colorado. Good friend of mine. Good friend of the show's. Come say hi. Come join the Discord. He's active on there, sharing stuff with us. And as you can tell, brilliant dude. Appreciate it very much. James, anything on that real quick? We got Jennifer on the line right behind you. But anything? You've been quiet for an awful long time. If you're still there, test 1, 2, James. Maybe not. Maybe he fell asleep in the chair. Let's go to 702-957-1037. We're talking about advanced propulsion. If we were deemed ready to go to visit the stars tomorrow and had the technology, and you were captain of the, let's say, Space Force, commander of Space Force, where would you go first? That's what we're talking about tonight. Just sort of some conspiracy speculation theater. Let's go to Jennifer in Missouri. What's up, Jennifer? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you tonight? Go right ahead.
Hey, doing all right. Yeah, It's a good topic. I've been listening and just thinking this over. And it's really frustrating because I wish that, there was something with what they're saying to believe in. But, take me to the bottom of the ocean and take me to the parts you can't go to in Antarctica because of the conditions. Take me to the North Pole. Let that be seen. Let people feel that they know the planets they're living on. And then, after all of that, to go to the North Pole even, to fly over it. They won't allow the airspace. There's all this different stuff, all these different conditions, and all these different reasons of why. That oil spill is still leaking. It just goes on and on. They couldn't handle the Fukushima thing. And they can't cure most diseases, and all they can do is find. It's very frustrating because then they come out and they're saying that in the lab they've created warp speed. They've been able to somehow figure out how they will do it and how they might perpetuate it to go to our pathways, from what I'm understanding. And it just seems like after all of that, if they can show all of that, and then if you still want me to, go to space. But they don't even understand. And so it makes me think, when I'm thinking about this, about warp speed, that means traveling over like 100,000 miles in a second. And that you'll somehow take a body inside any kind of contraption that man can build and do that and go somewhere. I'm being too realistic, I suppose. Or it's too, or something. But it makes me think then, as people have said a little bit, that they must be trying to do something else. Maybe they have done something else. And maybe the space program, space itself, the idea of space. Like we think of space and we think it means out there, up there, and all the way out. But space is right. It's everything. It's just all the room. And we don't even have a good explanation for it. Not really. It's just everything that all that stuff is floating in or moving around in. And we don't know what that stuff is. It's just such a mystery, in every single way and to fathom. So, but if they are if they've created, this reminds me of doorways and gateways. And if they are trying to, and I know that they are, because you have the Large Hadron Collider. You have more than just one of those. They're all over the world, and there are so many of them. I mean, I've lost count. There are hundreds of these Large Hadron Colliders. They're trying to do something. I don't believe necessarily that they are trying to travel to a planet. And I'm not trying to be like a negative about the Elon Musk Mars thing or anything like that, but it doesn't seem like they're actually trying to go to a physical place. They've done a lot of work in trying to figure out the meta side of things. They can do a lot with that. They've accomplished a great deal with the psi of things. That there's a bigger universe within the human brain, and the universe seems to be entailed in there. They say that they have been here and they've seen that, and they show us photographs and stuff. But they can barely show us photographs of the bottom of the ocean. You can go look, and there ain't much to it because they really can't even map it all. And it seems to me that they can't even map the entire human brain. But maybe this is something they have accomplished within the human brain. If they say they've mapped the universe, or not mapped the universe, but they've figured out some kind of warp speed way, or they're traversing space-time, which is what it was required to do what they're talking about, to go from one place to another place in this incredible way and still be alive. I don't care about that, but I'm just saying, inside the human psyche itself, maybe they have cracked something. When you go into the whole realm of dark matter, I've heard that there have been studies that they have figured out how much dark matter a body can hold, a human body, and that it can break through a gateway, a derelict doorway into some other realm. And I've heard about things like that. And perhaps they have done something like that. With the quantum computing and everything, they're always trying to get into some other dimension. And they've done that through all their rituals, through all the magic and time that we've talked about. And it's not magic, I mean science. A type of hypnosis, a type of breaking of the human psyche in a way that you get somewhere that you weren't supposed to be. And they were doing that chaotically they've been doing it for millennia, breaking the human psyche and going to places you don't think you should be going to and trying to get some information back from there to try and understand what makes up the fabric of the universe so that you can conquer it in some way or feel like you're more than you are. But where they must be trying to do with this, perhaps they have traversed over the barriers inside the human brain and the psyche, and they have gone somewhere and they have seen something, or they have gotten something relatively reasonable back from it without shattering the psyche of the person who came back to give them information about it, because it has to all have something to do. You can't go there in a physical body. That's my belief. And I wish that was so. I wish that you could. But it just they can't send a person down. They can't even send them, and I understand that the water is different in space than the space up there, up out of the atmosphere. And it's like they're full of imagination, and that's wonderful that they can imagine outside of the solar system itself into what may be out there. But I don't believe they've gone there or have ever seen it, how do you take a photograph outside of, how do you take a photograph out there and send it back when you can't even send an Uber driver to my address? You know what I'm saying?
Where's our flying car, Jen? We want our flying car and we want it now. No, you're right. There's a lot of things that kind of don't track, right? That absolutely do not. And that's the fascinating thing, too, about Elon Musk. Like some people hate him. They think he's full of crap, whatever. Some people think that he's the devil, literally like the devil reincarnated. And he's leading us to like the transhumanistic future. You know what I mean? There's so many things, but like...
His very name.
Yeah, right. But what Kelly said, too...
Yeah, his very name.
His very name. But also, by the way...
what the man stands for. He popped out of nowhere.
Kind of, but also kind of not. He's been around. He's just been behind the scenes doing PayPal and some other stuff, right? But I mean, I get that. That's true. But just in those terms, like Kelly's right.
Take on PayPal, then take on Mars. Why not?
Yeah. Why? Hey, why not? Hey, look, nobody's stopping him. That's for sure. Nobody's.
No.
If he's a super villain, where's Spider-Man? Like, bring me Spider-Man. No. Yes. But Kelly's right. Just real quick, the point I was going to make is that Elon's making NASA look like a bunch of clowns. And if he does even like a fraction of the things he says he's going to do, NASA still looks like a bunch of clowns. It makes you scratch your head, right? It's like, wait, so like all this ever was like a big game about political will or the will itself to make these things happen? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know in regarding those claims of Elon being the devil, but it's a fascinating conversation. Maybe we'll turn it on its head and have that conversation.
There's no man walking the earth that there's no human being, in my opinion, that can walk the earth and encompass. Like, that's absurd. It's absurd. Even the concept of evil itself, it's kind of. I mean, there's ideas about what it is, but it's absurd to personify it because we're just animals. Not just animals. We're much more than that. I mean, I'm sure animals are more than we think they are. But this whole thing with space, I'm incredibly intrigued by it. And there is something, you can look up there and you can see that there's a lot to it. Well, actually you can't. It looks like it's just a giant expanse. And what they've shown us is they can go up there to a point. And they claim, look at the sky and imagine that they claim they can't map the stars. It's too much, and that's okay. It's too much to look at. But then they talk about creating stars under the surface of the Earth, so many miles down, that they're going to create a star. And they've talked about that. And they go miles down, or they're going to create a black hole. They're going to do these unbelievable things. And I think that they are doing these things, but I don't think that they're doing it to try to get to a place, per se. Even though it seems like, if you can see it, I think, if they can see it with their telescopes, they can see there's a place there. You can take a telescope out and you can go see that there is you can look at the moon, you can look at all this, you can look at planets, you can look at the stars, and see that there is something out there. And they're wondering, how do we get there? And they know that it would take something incredible, but how would you, it makes more sense if they could go there without the body, but I don't know what the point would be if you couldn't come back, to talk about it. So maybe they have found some way that they have sent somebody somewhere, and it's not some Event Horizon type of shit. And they've gone somewhere and come back with information about what actually is out there, or in certain areas, or there are beings that have, I'm sure they've encountered them. I'm sure there's a lot to that. I believe that because I think that's possible. They have encountered it because there's a lot of talk about the beings that they have encountered. But I just think it's an enormous mystery. It is frustrating. I think that they have done something. They've been doing a lot. The secret space program, the idea of a secret space program in and of itself, the NASA, all that stuff with the NASA thing. It seems like it's some kind of internal thing that they're doing, and something to do with the psyche of the human brain would make a lot of sense, because you could go there without having to actually leave, and that seems like in the ancient world, if that's what they were talking about, possibly. And then to make yourself materialize something, or somehow to materialize somewhere so far away that you can't get there in any kind of vehicle or in a body. And so it looks like such a strange spectrum that they're, and I think that they are there. I think that they are working with this eerie spectrum of what could be. But I don't, and if they were, the first place I would go is to Uranus, like just for the joke of it, let's go there because this is unbelievable, You know?
Hey, because in third grade we all wanted to go to Uranus. There it is.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough, right? I don't know. Hey, it's as good as any, to be perfectly honest. I mean, like I said, it's all a huge mystery. I think it's fascinating. It's fun to think about. As you know, you're here exactly for that reason too, because there's so many things in this Earth that are just not just the Earth, right? You talk about the Earth, that's fascinating in and of itself, but then like you start to say what's outside of the Earth, and then shit gets weird. Shit gets super weird. so
what's inside it?
Yeah,
what's
inside
the human body. Yeah. There are things they discover all the time in the medical, with just right down to the same looking up with the telescope is not much different than looking down with a microscope, and they're still discovering things in both ways. And then you have this whole other arena that can be measured with any kind of scope at all. It's just like these accounts from people who are claiming they've seen this or seen that. And it can be verified. And that's unbelievable. Still trying to understand the human condition of how that's done with remote viewing and ESP and things like that. And you tie all that in, and it's just a big cluster F, of like, what have they done? Because they have done something. They're announcing it. Why say something so ridiculous? Why would they say something so crazy?
Yeah.
That they've comprehended the way that they might do it. They've done it in a lab without all the chaos of the real world or the real, way it might be applied. In the same way it looked nice and neat to go to the moon because it's just right there, right? But the whole hologram moon thing, there's just all this weird with why people say what they say and why they think what they think. But most of the people on this planet can't comprehend, more or less, you can't know what's going to happen ever. But to break the speed of light, if that's a real thing, because a lot of this just feels like we're floating, because it's like, if that even is a thing, if time and space is something that they are working with, hypothetically, then, because that is a hypothetical, it's very frustrating because I want to believe it. I want to believe, but
yeah, me too.
146,000 miles in a second, or whatever, 120 something like that. That's unbelievable. But you see, what's interesting is though, it's this last thing. The human thought works like that. There's processes going on in the subconscious all the time that require no attention from your conscious mind at all. And it happens just like that, like within your own body, things are occurring at that speed. Like I'm breathing right now, and they say it's because of my subconscious, that it's taking care of that. And the heartbeat and all of that. That it's being controlled by some other force within yourself. And if they've somehow, it's just, there's just so much. And it was really hard because I do want to believe that it'd be, I don't know. I do want to believe it, but I get caught up in all the other stuff, and it's hard to even think about,
Amen. Hey, this is all hard. That's why we do it. Like I say, Jen, we don't do these things because they're easy. We do them because they're hard. And there we go. I appreciate it very much.
Right.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for being part of this. Always a pleasure. Have a fantastic night. You too. Jen in Missouri. She's got a YouTube channel. Check it out. Links in the description down below. All the amazing people. Please follow them. Look, like I said, this conversation is a conversation, and without great people calling in and being part of this, it is literally just a shell of itself. So please take the time. James is here again. Jennifer, APOC, you know him, right? Night Stalker. Scroll down. The Robert. Every time I bring up anybody, I got to bring up the Robert 3 times because I always leave him out. But all the rest of the people, Tam Bam's down there. Links in the description. You guys know who they are. Joseph Iowalks. So many great calls. So many great people. They got their own things. They got YouTube channels. They got Instagrams, and they got TikToks and whatnot. Scroll down. Please please check it out. Give these people some love because, like I said, this show is greater than the sum of its parts because of the amazing people, and that's exactly the point. So please go give them some love and follow all the follows and do all the things and the thumbs ups and whatnot. And there we go. Fantastic call per usual from Jen. Let's go back to James. Apparently his Discord was broken. He didn't fall asleep in his chair. James. Yes. James.
Yes.
Wake up. James, wake up. What's up, bro? How are you?
I'm okay. I don't know. It's so odd because obviously it was working earlier. And then when we got back to the second time around, apparently updated or something. I don't know. Anyway, but no, all great calls tonight. Jennifer kind of really hit on part of what I was thinking of earlier, which is I've heard reports from people, people that have had paranormal and UFO experiences about people that have been given the chance to fly UFOs, some physical, some more just energy, with their consciousness. So there is something to that. And also, just getting back to the remote viewing angle of it, that, of course, leads me to dreams. People have weird dreams of places that seem like alien worlds, every so often. What if some of those are more than dreams, So I do think there's stuff that is probably being worked on, and maybe even includes all of that by different governments or different companies. But also, I think there's stuff that, maybe it's not. Maybe there's people that are going places and they don't even realize it. Or at least they don't realize it when they're awake, And I really liked 416 Cubes, is it?
Yep, Cubes. Yep.
Yeah, I liked his call as well because he's right about that. These definitions, I've talked about this before, as words, they don't always describe things well. We have to use them in some cases, in many cases, to at least try, but they're not always. They can be messy. I think that we've said that before too, and different people can take different meanings from the same words. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But and that was basically it. Just great calls all night long.
100%. We're blessed. The embarrassment of riches, that is troubled minds and all the amazing colors we get. Just real quick, I posted this thing, or I dropped it in the chat. Mick West has supposedly debunked the door on Mars. He says the door on Mars, in a much wider context, it's just a gap in a fractured rock outcrop.
Wow, that's one heck of a door-shaped
a gap in a fractured rock outcrop. I can't even find it in like the full actual. I don't even know which part he's talking about in this like larger. Which part is it? Over here? I can't even find it. Anyway, I linked it in the chat if you guys want to check it out. Mick West is like the debunker in chief of the world. He doesn't believe in anything, and that's not right to say because he clearly believes in some things. But he thinks that all this is a bunch of woo-woo bullshit, and that's fine. I'm okay with that, right? It's totally fine. It's one of those things where I think that, like I said, the truth is a lot more complicated than we like to make it as humans, and that's why we have a conversation about it, right? Like I said, I'm not telling anybody what to believe or what not to believe, because perfectly honest, I have my own beliefs. I do. Obviously, I try my best not to like smear them all over the world here, but you see when you get a lot of different people talking about a particular thing, that's an amazing concept that we can talk about things, we can agree or disagree or some variation in between, and not fucking hate each other, not fling poo at each other and like cause Twitter drama and call people out and you're wrong and this is wrong and you're all wrong and it's all wrong. Okay, well, have you ever changed your mind in your entire life? Because, well, if you have even once, maybe you're wrong. I'm just saying, right? Maybe you're wrong. All right, let's get the fuck out of here. Let's do it. Anything else, Kelly, if you're still there while we got you on? Before we bounce the fuck up out?
Really?
Yeah, loud and clear.
This thing is like how it kind of reminds me when people talk about like transversing through like astral plane, right? Through the universe. Now, Todd talks about doing the exact same thing. And what's interesting when you were talking about like we're trapped here, he explains it in the book or in the tablets that he transversed throughout the universe as well. He got, but each section, there's like sections throughout the universes that you can't go past. There's what you call a barrier, and these things that trapped you in there that make sure that nobody crosses these barriers was called the hounds of the barrier. And when they would see something coming close to the barrier, they'd yell out a big bell cry. You could hear it echoing through the section of the universe, and that means that they're coming for you. They would trap you. If they get a hold of you, they would trap you. So your essence or your energy or whatever you. But yeah, so that's interesting. It was when you guys kind of mentioned that, where it's kind of this reminds me of what Toth was talking about. But yeah, he was. And when you do so, try to get back to your body. He said you don't do it in angles. That you do it in circles, like a circles throughout, because they don't know the curvature of the universe. They just move in angles. And if he was to move back, you would. He had actually happened to him. He explains where he'd have to move in, the curvature of the universe, where he had to move in circles back to his body. These things were chasing him. He lost them in through some time cycles, is how he talks. That he lost them through some time cycles of space time before. But he says there's only a few people, or few beings that have crossed the barrier, and he had done it. He was one of them, and then came back. But he says, yeah, these hounds of the barrier are the ones that prevent, I guess, the crossing of certain sections. So, I don't know, man. That was pretty interesting. I just want to throw that in there.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff, my man. I think at some point in the future we should do a show on that, like the Great Filter. They call it the Great Filter of like the civilization filter and the Kardashev scale, and the idea that extraterrestrials aren't here because of that. What about the Great Filter of consciousness and souls? Sherry adds in the chat over on Rockfan, can't pass without permission. The plot thickens. Great stuff, Kelly. You were going to add something else before I cut you off?
Oh no, just going to say have a good night. It was good talk.
Appreciate it, brother. You too. Always a pleasure. All right. Tell Michelle I said hello. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being part of this. Let's get the fuck out. James got a James show for us. And the bad news is we're done. The good news is, God willing, we got tomorrow. And you know what that means, right? That means more troubled minds. Tomorrow, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific. We're going to talk about more crazy shit because that's what we do. More speculative nonsense. Or, maybe we're saving the world one show at a time. I don't fucking know. It depends on who you ask, right? Some people are like, this fucking Yahoo. Other people are like, yeah, Mike, this is it. So I don't know. Like I said, keep in mind this real quick before James starts. It's not your business what other people think of you. And there you go. I'm going to just keep doing my thing. We're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep talking about these things because these things are important to me. And if they're important to me, I think the law sort of holds that they may be important to you. So let's keep talking about it. Let's keep thinking about it. Let's not fall for the dramatic bullshit they try and feed us in the media. And there you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, with all of that said, James of Salcedo Paranormal. Go right ahead, my friend.
Two possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe or we are not. Both are equally terrifying. And that's from Arthur C. Clarke.
I was about to say, I know that one. That's Arthur C. Clarke. There it is. And that's the fucking truth. That is the truth of the matter there, right? Both are equally terrifying in my opinion, because if we're alone, well, this is a big universe for just us. If we're not, who will watch the watchers? There we go. All right, let's get the hell out of here. You guys know the drill. Please give James some love as well. James, good friend of mine, Salcedo Paranormal Podcast. He's an author. If you click his link down below, you can find all of his links. He's got his Discord on there, his author page where you can buy his books. You can go listen to his podcast. Thank you very much for James for being part of this. Always jumping in to save my ass. He's the glue that makes this show go and stick together. If I'm struggling, he's like, I got you, Mike. I appreciate that very much. You're the best, James.
No problem. Glad to be here.
Right on. Let's do this. As we finish, it goes like this, right? The bad news is we're done. The good news is got one we got tomorrow. That's for Jay in New York. And, if you want to help the show, there's a number of ways. Sub up on Twitch, Patreon, or, of course, Rockfin. Rockfin's probably the best value. It's $10 a month to get all kinds of other, like, premium stuff from all kinds of other, like, famous people. I'm not famous, but those people are famous. And it's part of Rockfin. Rockfin's coming up. It's an exciting thing. So what we'll also do, if you want to help the show and don't want to, or let's say if you do want to spend money, this hat I'm wearing at Troubled Minds, go to troubledfans.com, troubledfans.com. Will not find me oiled up on a fuzzy couch. You'll find sweet hats like the hat I'm wearing. There's stickers. There's a patch that just went up. There's all kinds of stuff. You can find t-shirts and whatnot. James, did you get your shirt?
Did. And it's awesome.
How's it look? All right. There it is. I got a hat coming for you, too. So the thing is this, right? There's a lot of ways you can support the show if you want to spend some money. If you don't, I completely understand. Spread the word. That's the most important thing. Spread the word. We can defeat the algorithms by old school word of mouth, all right? But if you don't want to spend any money, listen to the podcast feed. The RSS feed is the podcast. Is go to Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcast. It's completely free. It's monetized. There's some commercials in there. Please let the commercials run. It's just seconds for the hours of content you get for free, and it does help the show. Just go listen to an old show, like I always say. Rob, by the way, shout out to Rob. He's all, hey, Mike says he's the only one who's heard all the Troubled Mind shows. I'm trying to be the next guy that's heard them all. And I said, there's like 650, bro. He's like, oh. I appreciate you guys, all the enthusiasm, all of the things that make this show go. Thank you so much. And it goes exactly like this. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great